Carmelo Anthony's father has a friend, someone that's known him for at least 10 years. I believe he was on a TikTok live, and everybody was trying to challenge him as to whether he really was friends with Carmelo Anthony's father. He basically checked all the points, everybody. Everybody that either tried to challenge him, he had the receipts on it. He said he's known him for at least 10 years, given the fact that Carmelo Anthony's father works in car finance. People saying that, oh, he works for a car dealership where he works in car finance. And this man, Mark Anthony, has known him, he said, for at least about 10 years. This is why it's significant for us to listen to what this man is saying, because of the fact that he was at the, according to him, he was at the bond hearing, and he said out of his own mouth at the bond hearing, and let me just put this up, a little bit of display of him right next to me. That's a picture of him right there. He said out of his mouth on the TikTok live that during the bond hearing, that it was said in the bond hearing that the Metcalf, Austin Metcalf, Hunter Metcalf, that I don't know which one did it come out of which one's mouth, but that the N-word was used. That's according to Mark Anthony, saying that that came out of the bond hearing. And of course, there were people that challenged him and said, well, why haven't we heard the mainstream media say that both either Hunter Metcalf or Austin Metcalf, who is now deceased after being stabbed, that he used the N-word. Now, according to Mr. Mark Anthony, if you indeed believe the man, after you hear what you're about to hear today, he said that there's a bias in the media to paint Carmelo Anthony out to be a thug, and that the media is biased all across the board because they're not reporting the negatives of Austin Metcalf as it relates to this issue. He also went on to say that from people that he know, now he's in this area, there's going to be people, there's going to be a lady that's going to come on that live who said that she had kids there. Matter of fact, said that she was there with her kids, and that it is commonplace for people of any school to sit under a tent, and that the McCaff brothers had no authority to tell him to get out of the tent. Now, Mr. Mark Anthony is also going to say, he's talking to the family, he's saying that there's only so much he can say. He's not saying anything that's going to impact the case, but he's saying that it looks like these guys grabbed one of these brothers, put their hands on Carmelo Anthony or hit him, allegedly. Then they threw his bag. And then that's when Carmelo Anthony grabbed his bag that was thrown. They threw his property, put their hands on his property, also put hands on him one time, then threw his bag. Then we're approaching him, and then he grabbed his bag, went into his bag, and he grabbed the KNIF knife. He grabbed the weapon or the knife. And he also said that it's commonplace. This is what Mark Anthony says. He's from that area, says that he said that it's not illegal to have a knife. Now, this is the point that he makes, everybody, that I want everybody to hear me out. And it makes a lot of sense. He says, even when a kid is caught at school with a knife in their hand in the state of Texas, you might get sent home for the day. You might get a suspension or two, but you don't get criminally charged because you had a knife in Texas, in a Texas school. So a lot of people were saying that, oh, he shouldn't have had a knife. What is he doing? And I told you all on previous videos around this issue that it is commonplace for youth, teenagers, youth, and adults to have knives on them. as long as they don't go to a certain length, where now when they're a certain length, you must carry it where it can be seen on your person. People been saying that Carmelo Anthony was originally kicked out of school for having a knife. That's not true. There's no reports, no documentation. I dare anybody to find the doc. I've been asking for the documentation. Nobody has seemed to be able to dig that up. That's the propaganda that's been coming out amongst the white conservatives who don't like the fact that he's been getting money and support. I'm going to say this right here before I get into the videos, into the clips. The family never originally opened up a GoFundMe. It was an uncle who originally opened up a GoFundMe, not the family. There were also fake accounts. He's going to talk about that. I just want everybody to be clear about what you're about to hear today on these videos. Key points. He says that the N-word was used because it came out in a bond hearing. He said he was at the bond hearing. Another key point. Someone on the video gets on the panel and tries to challenge him on whether he knows the family by saying, "What's the number?" He said, "I'm not going to put out their full phone number," but what he did is he said a few things that the other person who claimed that they know the family would know if he put out certain numbers. When Mark Anthony was challenged by said individual on the video, he said a few things and the individual could no longer challenge him. And all of a sudden, he drops off the panel. Another thing that I noticed in this video that you're going to see is that you're going to have, I think that there's people that get on the panel and they keep questioning what kind of work does Carmelo Anthony father does. They're so concerned about what kind of work that they do because of the fact that they are renting. Now, I found out they don't own the house that everyone's been talking about. They're renting the house, right? And then they might have upgraded to get another car, what have you. But this is the thing about American society. Nobody likes to see black people living good. We've got Sugar Love over here, Miss Independent My Way, Black Star Sports TV. What's up, my brother? Jill's Chocolate Boutique over here. Alicia, loving you all here. Another CG. Everybody's coming into the house today. Appreciate you. They were very concerned about what this man's occupation is because they just can't handle seeing a black family living good because, like I said to you in the last video, they're used to black people living in the projects, living in squalor, living in a hard times knocks life. They don't want to see black people living good. Now, another thing that I'm finding out that you're going to find out in the video that's going to be very eye-opening, and I got to give this young lady credit. In the video, Mark Anthony stated that this is not she is not Carmelo Anthony's mother that you see right here is not the biological, not that it even matters, everybody, but she's not the biological mother. She's the stepmother to Carmelo Anthony, but she's got his back. So the other kids that she had with Carmelo Anthony's father that you see to the left here are kids that he had through their marriage, their relationship, and what have you. He must have had Carmelo Anthony's by another relationship that he was in. And the question on the video clips I'm going to show you is that people start saying, well, where is that mother at? Where is that mother? And to be quite honest with you, it ain't really none of our business because obviously he's got custody of his own son and he's remarried and has a new wife who he has kids with in his life. Maybe the mother is out of the picture, maybe because he's got full custody. Maybe she's got some personal issues. Who knows? Maybe she doesn't want to be on camera. Maybe she's talking to the family behind the scenes. Maybe she's contacting and talking to Carmelo Anthony behind the scenes, everybody. But that's not what's the most important thing right now. Because the most important thing is this young man's mental health. Mr. Mark Anthony said that these two twins were aggressive, that they put hands on Carmelo Anthony as we all thought, because he went to the bond hearing and there were certain things in that bond hearing that we don't know about, that the lawyers for Carmelo Anthony's side is saying that these guys were the aggressor. And another thing that they said on this video is that the kids down there in Frisco, Texas, that were at that track meet, they're not in a racial divide. They've been saying that they want people to stop saying that on the social media street, that the kids in the school ain't on no racial divide down there. That it is commonplace for them to share a tent. Now, let me show you the tent that we're talking about right here. I put it up in the beginning of the program. There's the tent. Look over to the far right. You'll see the yellow tent. That's where the whole thing took place. That's where it all went down. All over track and field. Once again, they had no right to take his property and throw his property. According to Mark Anthony, they grabbed his property and threw it, then proceeded to rush after him. That's why he took out the knife to defend himself, because they were putting hands on him, that he was being double teamed. Carmelo Anthony weighs about $130, that he was being double teamed on that track field. And that's why Carmelo Anthony gave that warning that if you touch me, you'll see what happens, because they had already put hands on him. And then they already threw his property, took his property, which they had no business taking his property. Mr. Mark Anthony is going to emphasize that in this clip. I'm going to show you these clips. And they also had no business putting hands on him. And 3, they had no business telling him to move from under the tent, when they say that it's commonplace for the kids in this community, this track community, to sit under each other's tents when it is raining like that. It was raining, y'all. I just want to give y'all an overview. Then the question again is, as another overview, where was the security? Where were the police to secure the environment? It was a state championship track meet that was going on there, right? The Austin twins, or the Metcalf twins, had no authority to be policing any bleachers of any kind. They had no authority. Hunter Metcalf, Austin Metcalf, who got stabbed, had no right to act like he was the police, that they thought that they were running stuff. It was a public event, so they had no business. Why didn't they go to teachers or coaches that were there? That's the overview that I want to give you all. Now, everybody, let's get ready. I want y'all to hear this. Another thing I want to put up here is that they were making up lies about Carmelo Anthony's family. Remember saying that $5,000 in donations for his defense to purchase a $150,000 Cadillac Escalade. That was a lie. Beginning renting a home valued at $900,000. Another lie. The money had the GoFundMe had nothing to do with it, because they didn't have a GoFundMe. People need to stop lying on this family. Okay? They just don't want the Carmelo Anthony family to get some money for the illegal offense. They're using Give, Send, Go. Give, Send, Go. Now check this out. And I was thinking about clipping this, everybody. Do you know that the CEO of Give, Send, Go was on that? I like to call him the raccoon himself, Jason Woodlock's show. And he clarified a few things. He said that if they were running fraud, even on the Send Me Go, he said if they were running fraud, they have a department that detects fraud. They said that everything that the Carmelo Anthony family, Carmelo Anthony, his father, his mother, stepmother, whatever's appropriate, that they would have noticed fraud and they would have stopped the account immediately. So for those of you who want to say, well, they didn't have a GoFundMe account, but maybe they were cheating on that Go Send Me account. No, The CEO has already come out, and I wished I would have clipped what he had to say for today's presentation. But right now, I'm telling you right now, not go send me, it's Give, Send, Go. The CEO of Give, Send, Go. And this brother right here, Jeffrey Charles, said they're trying to stop people from donating to Carmelo Anthony's legal fund. Sounds very Marxist to me. That's what the brother was saying right there. So let's go into here. Once again, this is the friend of Carmelo Anthony, the friend of his father, who has something to say about what's going on. Let me put this man up here, right now. And that's the guy right there. So let's get ready to get into this right now. I appreciate everybody being here. Do me the biggest favor if you can, everyone in the chat room. I'm not going to do a lot of shouting out today because I want to get us through these clips that are very, very important and will add to our understanding of what's going on. Everybody, do me a favor. If you're watching me on your cell phone, your desktop, your iPhone, your Droid phone, tablets, whatever you got, iPad, hit the button on this video that says share. Look for the share button. Hit that, click that, whatever you've got with your finger, your mouse, whatever, and share that in your social media right now if you can. Share it into your X, share it into your Twitter, share it into your Facebook, share it into your community groups that you have on your YouTube channel if you're a content creator. Share, and share alike. And I want to thank you. What a beautiful clap. All right. Let's get into this right now because I know you guys are waiting to get to the meat and sauce of this whole situation. So, man, Carmelo Anthony, I tell you, all the crap that's going on. Let's get into the first clip right here, everybody. Here we go.
Rest of your life, it's over, it's done.
Right.
I feel that should be implemented because I think that would have diffused the thought of picking on somebody, calling, Carmelo, obviously we know had skills. Hey, let's get this kid out from underneath, as they call it, his tent, our tent. You're in a situation where it's rained all day. Little human compassion, please, for those who say he was underneath the wrong tent. His school's tent wasn't set up for whatever reasons, but that doesn't mean you can't share human compassion for someone who's getting wet. Come on now. They keep saying that, and it bugs me. As I think I said yesterday to you, how many of us have dated people from other schools and gone to their homecoming and proms?
Sure.
Hey, I never got into a fight. It was all cool. We all had friends from other schools, and now we're talking about a tent. I mean, has our kids gone us? I know I'm old, 53 years old, but has it gone to that extreme where we can't sit underneath someone else's tent for shelter and take a phone call? You have to ask yourself, where's the parenting? And, and the divorce that the Metcalfs had with
Good
her
point.
addiction to alcohol.
Let me stop it right there. So what he's saying is that the Metcalf family, not to be disparaging, that the wife has some substance issues. Now, this man lives in this community. And knows some of the players in this situation, meaning he knows the Carmelo Anthony family. He was at the bond hearing. He understands the culture of the community and the track and field community down there. So I just want y'all, and there are going to be people that were going to try to challenge him, but I think that he passed all challenges. Okay. Another thing too, people were saying, why are you talking about this? He said he already talked to the Carmelo Anthony family and told them that he would be on this TikTok, but he would not disclose anything that would jeopardize the case. What does that mean? That tells me, everybody, what that tells me is that he knows some things that they might have talked to him about that a lot of us don't know because of his relationship with the father. Okay? Just keeping it real with you all. Let's get back to it.
I could pick that apart all day long. So I guess the whole world, or in their family, they were worried about the mom's temporary orders to go seek treatment and do all that. So, somebody coming off an addiction, that's a whole lot of fun. And I can contest to that because my ex-wife had to do that. So it's a mess.
Right.
With the Carmelo family, both of them professional jobs.
I don't mean to stop it so many times, but I just want to make sure that people can hear the audio clear. Put sevens. Everyone put sevens in the chat room. If you hear the audio very clear, let me know.
The mother is a caregiver. I guess working at a hospital. I'm sure it's not hard to find that. But
this is a very important point that he's making up, because I think it was said that she was a stay-home mother, but apparently Carmelo's mother, who we're finding out, the young lady right here, may be a stepmother, according to Mark Anthony, but it doesn't matter. If she's there taking care of him, caring for him, she's in his life, that's all that really matters. That she is I believe, a nurse, a caregiver herself. She's not, I think at some point in time during that press conference with the Dominique character, who, folks, I've got all kind of problems with Dominique. Make sure y'all check out my video on Truth Media Raw, where I had to expose Mr. Dominique, who's the Dominique Alexander, who has been the de facto spokesperson for the family. And I just don't like the way this man moves and operates. What do you all think about what I just said? If you agree or disagree, I mean, if you agree, put sevens. But I don't like the way he moves. But for some reason, it was put out there that she was a stay-home mother, but it's coming out by Mark Anthony, a 10-year friend of the father, that that he is she is indeed a mother who works in healthcare.
Sorry, there's a beagle again. She had to quit her job because, she was singled out and saying, well, if your son doesn't care about human life, why should we think you do? That's pretty tough.
So she lost her job in healthcare because of the situation with Carmelo Anthony, people saying if he doesn't care about life, then why should we care about you? So the stepmother or the mother has lost. It has impacted their employment. You see what I mean? Let's get back to it.
That's sad. That's sad when you say that. It's going to be a shock to everybody when they follow the penal code, Texas law in defense. I don't care if it's California to New York to Florida to Georgia to Missouri it's Texas law. We're different. It's the only state that can pull itself away from the union and become its own state at any time it wants. So if anybody wants to ask me any questions, I guess join us and fire away.
Right. Well, listen,
where it lands.
You're able to speak about these things, and how long have you known the father?
Oh, I think I've known them. Trying to count back the cars and which ones they were and what year, trucking cars.
Remember, everybody, she lost her job. They've been, remember, in that press conference that they gave, they said that they had been getting harassed. She said that her kids can't sleep at night. Her 13-year-old daughter is scared to sleep in her bed because they've been getting harassed. People have been leaving things on their house, in front of their door. And obviously, bills are piling up, right? Bills are piling up on this family, on the father as well, because people are harassing them in the community ever since this situation took place with Carmelo Anthony and the whole circumstance. So for those of you that are saying it's a horrible thing, yes, it is. It is very horrible. Let's continue.
21, 22, 20. Oh, probably since 2015.
2015. Okay, so you're talking about 10 years.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of when, my daughter, his son, same age and all that, and talking about the same sports from the same, different schools and how that all plays out.
Right.
Yeah, just trying to put it all together.
Yeah, I mean, 10 years, that's a significant relationship. So you've known Carmelo since he was 7 or 8 years old.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they were youngins, as I call them. Yeah, definitely youngins. Yeah. So
Now,
sorry about the win there.
I imagine at the beginning, your main reason for getting out there is just to dispel a lot of the disinformation that's out there of what you know.
Well, I can't go into too much detail of what they're claiming what was said between back and forth at each other. Obviously, if Carmelo is
Tiffany Jackson, the community is moving like it's 1956 or 65. What's going on? The Informant Media, check them out. Last Call's in here. RY's in here. Pretty Brown Eyes is in here. My man Mike B is in the house. A lot of great people. Beverly Palmer is in the house. Tiffany Jackson. Lots of great people over here. And I also see my lady Wellness with Fugo Mama. Make sure y'all check her out. Very positive sister there. Appreciate you all. Let's continue. I've got so much more to show you. Let's continue.
Trying to work on an aerospace engineering degree. He's trying to work on that. He's not trying to throw it away. And, I also have to say back and forth to the other one. I don't know what the other one, Medcats, I don't know the family.
Now, what is he saying about Carmelo Anthony? A lot of us didn't know this because they think that Carmelo Anthony is just some thug kid, right? Oh, he just an athlete and a thug. No, he wanted to be an aerospace engineer. He's been working on it since he was a kid. Mr. Anthony, Mark Anthony says he's known them since they were little kids, and that Carmelo Anthony was taking special classes in school and certain academic rigorous courses because he wanted not only just to be an athlete. We know that he ran track. We know that he was playing football, right? But Carmelo Anthony was more than just football in track, everybody. This young man was a scholar. And he, from what Mark Anthony's going to tell you, he was well on his way to possibly going to a top school for engineering because he wanted to go into aerospace engineering. This is what we need our young black youngsters to be doing. More of that and less sports and more academics, in my opinion. This is his, he went to a football camp right here. And that's the little part that the media won't tell you, but that Mark Anthony's telling you, and that I'm displaying on this video today. They won't tell you that this young man is a brilliant scholar. They just want to say he's a thug with a knife in hand. Thug with knife in hand at any time, ready to cut you. And he's saying that why would Carmelo Anthony risk all of that unless he was under deep distress by the Metcalf twins? Once again, you need to keep your hands off of people. Don't touch their belongings. Don't throw their belongings, and don't make physical threats on them or put your hands on them. Have we forgotten that rule in this society? Have we? Let's get back to it.
So I don't know. I'm gonna catch a lot of hell for this. In a public school, you can be in low, medium, or high track. I don't know what Metcalf's was. I mean, I could be in low track and get a 3.9. But I know Carmelo was in the high track classes. and taking dual credit, especially in his math.
Let me stop here. I'm glad that you got that troll out of here, but check this out. Didn't Kyle Rittenhouse injured one person and deleted the lives of two people with his rifle in a state that he had no business with that type of rifle, because it's illegal to have that rifle when you're below the age 18 and you didn't have a permit in the state of Minnesota. Didn't Trayvon Martin get deleted by a man who had a weapon that took his life when Trayvon was fighting him with just bare hands, and they claim he threw a rock on him? Mark Zimmerman. So I don't want to hear that crap about, well, you still know we got plenty of white boys running around. We just had the white boy that took people's lives out there in Florida State. We got white men going into schools and white boys going into schools and taking the lives of their classmates. So I don't want to hear that crap. Because this young man said he was defending himself. But y'all said that all them white boys, like the Rittenhouses of the world, y'all all rallied around him and said that he was right to do what? Self-defense. Let's continue.
With differential equations.
And I want to say peace and respect to God's little princess that just came in the house. Pretty brown eyes. Tiffany Jackson, R.Y., Mike Brown, Jill's Chocolate Boutique. Okay, everybody that's here. Henderson, Beverly Palmer, everybody. R.Y., thank you again.
I took those classes. He was well on his way.
Right.
Well
on his way to college.
You know, here I am. I'm saying I don't think so. Everybody just, whatever. But somebody who's getting an aerospace engineering degree, I would say pretty well grounded. I would be very proud of my daughter if she would. I know my daughter's very well grounded in her degree. I'm very proud of her for that. But, anybody who's with that kind of trying to put a man in space and maybe to Mars.
Excuse the wildlife in the background.
That's pretty well grounded, and I'd be pretty proud of him.
Sure.
So,
absolutely.
I don't think, to my point, circling back around, excuse me, but I don't think a squabble would be worth throwing all that away.
Right. Absolutely.
And I think he was well focused.
Right. There's been a lot of disinformation about.
He's talking about Carmelo Anthony there, and here we go with the disinformation. The brother that's running this stream is talking about
being a cleat cleaner as opposed to a actual knife. Can you shed any light on what you know about that?
Well, a cleat cleaner, and I heard a cleat sharpener. Well, cleat sharpeners, those they're not even allowed in track, so let's, 86 that idea. I really don't want to say.
The report says a black KNIFE with blood on it, so on and so forth. That's what it says. But I'm just saying there's a lot of people said, oh, no, it was a cleat cleaner. I'm pretty confident that it was actually a KNIFE.
Could have been. But you know what they have to do? That's what the police report says. But what they have to do is they have to give it to collin-county CSI. And I'm not denying anything. I'm just saying when it goes to collin-county CSI and DNA.
Let me stop this right here. Everybody, I'm gonna give y'all a warning right now. Get your because we're gonna be a while on this stream. I'm just giving y'all a warning. Get your drink, water, whatever you like to drink, wine, soft drink, whatever it is that you like to drink, your tea, your coffee. Get you some snacks, because I don't want to rush through this. I want to slow burn this today, because this is very important, what we're about to see right now. Now, somebody made a good point right here that I want to put in here. Honey O says, I appreciate this man coming forward because he said he's going to catch hell from his statements. This type of action will make America great, not again, but finally. Well, I can say this right now. This white man is not on code, okay? So I would say he gonna catch some hell from white folks in the state of Texas who don't like the fact that he's speaking up in behalf of Carmelo Anthony. We got to be honest here. He's completely off code. We don't normally see this, right? And Yalpo, thank you for the $5 super chat, my brother. Here we go. Thank you, brother.
Thank you for the super chat.
Yeah, thank you for the super chat. I don't want to take up a lot of I'll just give you a little taste of super chat music here.
Chat.
Information is power.
Thank you for the super chat.
Tell the truth.
Here we go, everybody. Here we go. Let's get back over here, get back on the grind here. And everybody, thank you, Yalpo, for the $5 super chat. Tell the truth as always. Let's get back to this. This is interesting stuff.
Both are matched, then that's it.
Right.
I mean, that's the fairest thing to say, because I'm not collin-county CSI.
Timeless, thank you for coming over, and shout out to you, Timeless, and everybody in the chat. Let me move this back a little bit. So you get the point. The white dude is off code. You know there's people in the community that's going to hate on him for backing the black family. Okay? Now, he has known Carmelo Anthony since he was knee-high to a bush. So he has known this family for a long time. He's known the kids. So, of course, there's a certain familiarity with the family because he has known the father. This is the father's friend of 10 years. And he said that the father works in, I think, vehicle finance. When you buy a car, he works in finance. A lot of people keep asking, whoa, what kind of job? Because they can't stand the fact that these black folks were living in a nice home before this whole thing happened, and he was living in a nice, they had a car. Now, if this man works in car finance, then I'm sure the family they had a GMC truck, which they could have traded in. There's also a picture that I had in the last video, before this video, where I showed Carmelo Anthony on a car. Well, it was a birthday present that was purchased way before this situation happened. Then you had dummies all over social media that put out a picture of the family on vacation saying, look, they're using the money for luxury cruises. The damn picture was dated 2023, 2 whole years before this whole situation took place. People on social media and people who haven't gotten their facts right, you seem stupid. Let's continue.
Actually, a KNIFE.
Could have been. But you know what they have to do? That's
Wildlife.
what the police report says. But what they have to do is they have to give it to collin-county CSI. And I'm not denying anything. I'm just saying when it goes to collin-county CSI and DNA from both are matched, then that's it.
Right.
I mean, that's the fairest thing to say, because I'm not collin-county CSI.
Right.
And I'll tell you what, Andrew's not going to tell me either, in case I have a slip of the mouth.
Sure.
I mean, and that's respectable. I wouldn't
Andrew is the father that you see right here next to him.
either if it was my daughter. I wouldn't. I don't care. I don't care if maybe if you're my only person I would tell is my wife or my let's go this way. I wouldn't. I probably would only tell my wife and maybe my parents.
Right.
And that would be it. But yeah.
The less you talk, the better.
Yeah, loose lips sink ships. Absolutely.
Loose
But
lips
you know,
sink
we have to say that. You know, I don't know. You know, if I was in a crowd of people and heard the word, you know, poking and this and this and that, and I had one, they're going to search everybody in that place. I'm going to drop what I have. You know what I mean?
Right.
And if I get searched, hey, search me. But I think we have to wait for that report to come.
All right, everybody, here we go. I also want to say this. Let's not forget that the judge, Miss Angela, she was also had her life threatened because she gave Carmelo Anthony the bail that he had deserving to get. Now you're going to hear Mr. Mark Anthony in this video clips today say that the reason why he got the bail because he does not have any criminal background whatsoever. Remember, they let him out. And remember this situation right here.
All right. Come on, man. Just follow back behind us. Just stay close, okay?
Carmelo, do you have anything that you'd like to say, Carmelo? Do you have anything that you'd like to say to the victim, to the family of the victim? Why were you armed, sweetheart? Carmelo, why were you armed at school? Explain your self-defense. How is this self-defense?
Excuse me.
Carmelo, is there anything you want to say to the community that's donated?
Here go the next one.
I see one lady. She says I'm biased, and that's fair to say. But you know, I give both students or both young men the credibility of and the family, I guess, to have their day in court, and all those gaps will be filled. Everything when he said on Fox, whatever words he used saying that were said, we're going to find out exactly what those words are because you have
Facts, Tiffany Jackson, grounded in us being beneath them. Exactly. I agree with everything that you said in there. RY, Tiffany Jackson, white, yes. The more they stand up for what's right, the less the community weirdos will be, yeah. Let's continue.
have to in court say, hey, what was said verbatim.
Right.
You're not going to get in trouble, but we want to know that spark, what was said that instigated and got down to, oh my God, this guy, it could inflict harm. So I need to do what I need to do. And that's not being negative, but you know, if I'm coming at anybody that's, you know, 50, 75 pounds lighter than me, and I'm only 6'1", 185 pounds, you know, I would expect them to kick and scratch and do everything they need to do. I mean, I would expect that.
Right. What I find interesting is that Hunter, based on the couple of interviews that I've seen, he doesn't even see, based on the interviews, he said his back was turned, so he didn't even see the actual poking.
Yeah, but then he died in his arms, you know, and I mean, I kind of saying, but he saw it.
Stop it right there. You see what he just said? There, I had said this in other videos that Hunter, the brother who's alive, he has said conflicting statements to the media. 1 minute he says, "Oh, I had my brother in my arms when it happened." Then he's saying that his back was turned. And Mr. Mark Anthony is saying that there is conflicting stories here. And remember, I'm going to say this again. He was at the bond hearing. So, of course, he's got certain information that many of us wouldn't have. And I do believe that there is a his story that you see right here, Hunter Metcalf. I wonder how this is going to play out when this goes to trial. And will the defense team pick holes in his story and show the inconsistencies of his story? Let's hear this part. We need to hear it again. Here we go.
Is that Hunter, based on the couple of interviews that I've seen, he doesn't even see, based on the interviews, he said his back was turned, so he didn't even see the actual poking.
Yeah, but then he died in his arms, you know, and I mean, I kind of saying, but he saw everything. He says, the first interview, he doesn't say it, but the second interview, he says, oh yeah, we took his bag. Okay.
This is very true. If you look at everybody, do your research here. Look at I tried to show this inconsistency in several videos around this subject some time back. If you look at all of his interviews, he's saying different things per interview. The defense team for Carmelo Anthony have to shoot holes in his story because he's already shown inconsistency when he's talked to the press.
You know, it's pieces and bits as we come along of what was said. Of course, you know, the Carmelo family, well, they're not saying nothing. As you know, walking out of behind the courthouse, they didn't say one word. She's gonna go nuts, honey. For those who want to know, I'm walking the dogs, and I got a beagle who thinks she's on it.
Well, of course, definitely you don't want to turn your back if your family member is being attacked. But these are important points. Let me just say this, everybody. These are very important points for us to get our mind wrapped around, because the inconsistencies in the things that Hunter Metcalf has said out of his own mouth. Go back and look at the interviews. You can find it on YouTube when he talked to Fox versus when he talked to another news agency. It's all inconsistent rhetoric that comes out of his mouth. Remember, the father was asking the question about who raised Carmelo Anthony, and we're finding out that Carmelo Anthony was on his way to going to college because he wanted to be an aerospace engineer. But remember him talking like this?
And he murdered my son by stabbing him in the heart. The guy was in the wrong place. They asked him to move, and he bowed up. This is murder. I don't know. I'm not trying to judge, but what kind of parents did this child have? What was he taught? He brought a knife to a track meet, and he murdered my son by stabbing him in the heart. The guy was in the wrong place. They asked him to move.
So now we're saying, this is the thing that you guys have to understand, everybody. The father says that Carmelo Anthony was in the wrong place. No, he wasn't. You're going to find out on this clip today that there's a lady that's going to be on this panel who is down there, has kids that are a part of that school district that are involved in that track meet, and says that, no, it's everybody down there. When there's rain, when there's different tents, everybody mingles in everybody's tent. Everybody hangs out in everybody's tent. So this whole issue that the father says he was in the wrong place. No, he was in the right place. He had every right to be at this track meet. He had every right to be at this track meet. Now you got the goofies out there that's saying, well, why did Carmelo Anthony skip school that day? There's been no official report that says that Carmelo Anthony skipped school on that day to go to that track meet. There's been no official report. If that was true, that shit would have already been put out in the media. They would have got the report. Just like this whole thing about, he brought a knife to school and he got suspended when he did not. And again, in the state of Texas, you don't get criminally charged for having a knife. You can have a knife legally in the state of Texas. Now, the question again is, there's two laws in Texas, everybody. There's the castle law, and then there's the stand your own ground. A lot of times what people are doing is they're getting the two mixed up. Keep this in mind. There's the castle law, and then there's the stand your own ground. Similar laws for defending yourself, but two different objectives. Now, Mark Anthony is going to say on this video clip that in the state of Texas, and he reads the law, the numbers, the breakdown that many of us don't know, that he said that Carmelo Anthony, after doing what he did have a right to stay exactly where he is. He didn't have to run, flee, or anything under those laws, whether you look at the castle doctrine law or the law of stand your own ground. Let's get back to this. Let's go.
Hunting spree.
I know.
Yeah, but yeah. So one is, and I'm sure now that the prosecuting has told the Metcalf family, the more you talk, the more you say and will be used against you. I mean, truth.
Right.
Because it is. I mean, we're doing it. We're doing it. So.
Now,
yeah,
the Anthonys, they got to have tight security now based on what's been going on. I know that
they're third place. Third place.
Third place?
Yeah. Andrew told me, not last night, but a night ago or so. He goes, yeah, I had 3 guys in my at the house property and had to have them removed. I mean, really? If you're so convinced that they're guilty, why don't you just let the courts handle it? Because, you're asking for a Tahoe ride.
Right.
I mean, because, and what's sad is, the brother, if this goes to Carmelo having to defend himself, his brother could be found accessory to his brother's life.
What?
And that's some real stuff there. And that information, if anybody wants to know, I'm not a lawyer, but Derek Walpole is, and that was the first attorney. And I see Derek Walpole every Tuesday night. Him and I hang out.
So this attorney, Derek Walpole, is involved in defending the Carmelo Anthony family, Carmelo Anthony. And he's saying, did y'all hear what he said? I'm going to play that again. That this thing, if it goes Carmelo Anthony's way for self-defense, that the Hunter Metcalf, it could backfire on the Metcalf family, and that they could be looking at Hunter Metcalf, who you see on the screen, as a accessory to the situation going wrong the way it did because of them bullying Carmelo Anthony. This is alleged. This is if this was to play out in court this way. But this man, Mark Anthony, is saying that he actually talks to and has been around the current lawyer that has been involved in this situation, who is already. So this is going to be very interesting, everybody. Hear this again.
He found accessory to his brother's life. And that's some real stuff there. And that information, if anybody wants to know, I'm not a lawyer, but Derek Walpole is, and that was the first attorney. I see Derek Walpole every Tuesday night. Him and I hang out. So Derek Walpole had a trial jury last Tuesday, and he asked him about the case. And what was interesting.
Okay, let me correct something. So Derek Walpole that he's talking about, I guess, is not on Carmelo Anthony's case, but he was consulting a lawyer who has had similar cases like this and says that if it goes that way, that it goes in the favor of Carmelo Anthony for self-defense, then Hunter Metcalf could be in jeopardy as an accessory to them bullying him and him having to defend himself. And he said that he's talked to a lawyer who has had these kind of cases, who has also consulted and talked to other people about this case. That's what he's saying here. Let me just play it for you. Hopefully everybody, it will come clear to you.
The brother, if this goes to Carmelo having to defend himself, his brother could be found accessory to his brother's life. And that's some real stuff there. And that information, if anybody wants to know, I'm not a lawyer, but Derek Walpole is, and that was the first attorney. And I see Derek Walpole every Tuesday night. Him and I hang out. So Derek Walpole had a trial jury last Tuesday, and he asked him about the case. And what was interesting, Collin-County too, people are starving for facts, not this, we think this, that, school policy, sitting on a tent, skipping school, all this other stuff. People want to know the facts of this in Collin County. So it may be a good idea. He's with a good judge. She doesn't play the race card. If anybody knows who she is, she is a good judge, and I think Carmelo's.
I believe he's talking about
the case is in the
Miss
best hands it
Angela
could be
here.
in. Because if it goes to jury, which it probably will, she'll be a great director of it. She's not going to let either one of them play any card. That's not how she works. So Derek actually said if he was still on the case, he would do a speedy trial. He would.
So wait a minute. If he was still on the case, he would do a speedy trial. That's actually a good strategy, y'all. Don't let stuff linger. Let's get this thing going now. I think it's a good point.
I said if he was my client and he was still being held, he would go to the judge and ask to get a speedy trial. We're all citizens entitled to a speedy trial, and that can catch the prosecution off their feet.
Off guard. That's right. Now, this is why I'm concerned about this man right here, Dominique Alexander, representing the family. I don't think and I did a video. Make sure everybody, if you have not subscribed to the Truth Media Raw channel, I will be dropping another video over there. Truth Media Raw. That's me, the other channel that I've created. That used to be the News Shorts channel, but now it's the Truth Media Raw. I'll be dropping more video over there. There'll be short videos, so it won't take up a lot of your time. But go over there and check out the video breakdown that I did about this man, Dominique Alexander, and his horrific background as it relates to domestic and also with a child. I don't think he's the right guy that should be representing the team. I would like to see the lawyers talking more and this man talking less. He's a part of this new generation action network thing. I get it. He wants to be the next Al Sharpton, but we don't have time for Al Sharptons. No, we don't. We don't have time for the Al Sharpton wannabes. And I think he's a detriment to a certain degree because he says a lot of out of the wall stuff. I want to hear mainly from the lawyers and lawyers only, and less from the Al Sharptons. Let's get back to this now, everybody. I appreciate you being over here. Peace.
Derek's a well-known attorney for criminal defense. His strategy would be to talk to everyone who made a statement, find the link, go in there and do it. And that link is everything that was said that we don't know. And that's how he would do it.
Right. Yeah, I think a speedy trial would be good that way, because that kind of puts the prosecution on the defense, because they got to come up with all the investigation and all the I's dotted and T's crossed. So that might be a good strategy. I'm not sure if the new defense attorney is going with that strategy, and I'm not even sure it hasn't. Do you know if it's gone to the grand jury? I haven't seen any reports of that tonight.
You're right. He hasn't even been indicted. He may get a no bill.
Did you hear what he said? Carmelo Anthony has technically not been charged with anything yet. And everybody was up in arms about him getting that bond. It has not been official. Now, you know it's coming down the pipeline to be official. Let's not kid ourselves here. But Carmelo Anthony is in a situation where he's waiting for them to bring him back to court and then give him the official charges that him and his family and the lawyers will have to fight. If y'all understand what I'm saying, put sevens in the chat room. We're going to get back to what he was saying to reference this one more time. I told you I want to make sure that there's complete understanding with this video.
Investigation and all the I's dotted and T's crossed. So that might be a good strategy. I'm not sure if the new defense attorney is going with that strategy, and I'm not even sure it hasn't. Do you know if it's gone to the grand jury? I haven't seen any reports of that tonight.
You're right. He hasn't even been indicted. He may get a no bill. He may not have it. I mean, chances of that are what they are. But yeah, he hasn't even been indicted yet.
Right.
Honey, babe. Sorry, we're walking dog and a biker came up.
I'm gonna Danielle, the Candid American. Do you have any questions for Mr. Mark Anthony?
Yeah, thanks for having me up. I appreciate this. So I have a few questions, so hopefully you can oblige me. I'm sorry? Danielle. So my first question is this. Can you speak to the GoFundMe that was initially created that...
Speak to the, hang on a sec. Let me get something straight. I got all the things up here.
And you all can still hear. Thank you for the sevens in the chat room. Let me know if you can still hear the audio. Hear me play it again.
Can I speak to the GoFund?
Can you speak to the GoFundMe, the initial GoFundMe? Is that right, Danielle? That's what you're asking?
Yeah, can you speak to the GoFundMe that was initially created by what some say who is Carmelo Anthony's uncle, and the things that it said about the GoFundMe? I'm sorry, the things in the GoFundMe that was said in relation to the...
I think that uncle, everybody, remember I did the last video and there was a brother who took a picture with Carmelo Anthony and he had a shirt where he had his picture of Carmelo Anthony's face on the shirt. He was selling I remember I said people were hating on that guy. And I said in that video, clearly the last video, that this might be an uncle, a cousin, his father, you know, this might be someone that's kin to him because they damn sure look alike. Come to find out, I believe that was the uncle that was hugging, had the arms around Carmelo Anthony, right? Who put those shirts together, who I think is the one that originally put out a GoFundMe. I think this is what this sister is talking about right here. Let's go at it.
Case. Can you speak to that?
I can say that I haven't seen it, but you know, I can send you and then you can see it for yourself. I'll try and do that. No, I can't do that right now, because otherwise it'll cut me off. Later on, if you want to ask, Danielle, I will send the text and show you the text that I got from Anthony, Andrew, that he sent me. The GoFund originally, like the day after all this came to light. And maybe he can reach back out to you and get you that, but I have not read it. I
okay, when he sent you, sure thing. So when he sent you the text message, did he say this is not ours, or did he say, hey, here's our GoFundMe? Like, what was that message?
Yes, because he was telling me, you know, you're talking to I mean, they are a successful family. And then all of a sudden, all income stops. And bills are piled up quadruple, a big legal team and a security team, 24/7.
Bills are piling up. Remember, the mother who actually works in healthcare, I think she's either lost her job, they've let her go. Remember, this family, during this press conference, they told us that they're getting a lot of hate. A lot of things are happening in this community that's impacting this family financially. And then people are moaning, bitching and moaning about them getting some money for his legal defense, and then lied on them and said that they were spending money on A, B, and C, and lied and said that they got most of their money from a GoFundMe, which is not true. Then the other, the Give, Send, Go, the CEO had to come out to correct people's foolishness, because he said, no, this family is not cheating, isn't doing anything shady, because we've been monitoring. So everybody needs to lay off the narrative that they are running a con game here. Come on now. Nobody said anything when Kyle Rittenhouse, when Daniel Penny, when all these white supremacists were raising money close to the millions for their defense. Nobody questioned where the money was coming from, because it was coming from people like themselves that supported them. But when black folks are on code and we decide to support each other in our hard times, now it's a problem. double standard all across the board. Let's get back to this.
Ouch.
Yeah, I'm just asking, that initial GoFundMe, was that a GoFundMe for Anthony that was made by his uncle, the one that?
You know what? I'll try and look it
Mr.
up right now.
Anthony-
I'll try and look it up right now. If I cut off, I'll come right back.
Okay, here's the other part right here, y'all. Here we go.
Definitely tell you that, you know, they said his wife was a stay-at-home mom. That's not true. He's not a lawyer. That's not true. People who are saying he is a lawyer, he's not
Can
a
you
lawyer.
hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, yeah, this was the last question. With the whole, with what you're saying from your perspective, you're saying that these were two twins coming at him well over 400 pounds. You know, what would you do? I would want my kid to scratch kick or whatever you were saying. What I'm asking, is that what the family is saying? Like how Carmelo told them how he felt about these two twins? Or is that just something that you're saying and how you look at it?
Carmelo didn't know the twins. He didn't even know them. He never played against them in football. Never.
Right, I'm talking about the whole weight difference thing.
That's an important point because a lot of people were saying that he knew them, that they had partied together. There was something about a smashed foam and all this other stuff. There's something about a girlfriend. A lot of things were not actually true, folks. Carmelo Anthony didn't know these guys like he was friends with them or that he hung out with them. He didn't know them like that. But let's continue to hear more.
Well, I know how much Carmelo weighs, and I was at the bond hearing. I saw how big the brother was.
But that's not what I'm saying. Is that's not what their Carmelo family's position or the defense is not. These two kids were way bigger than him. What would you do if you had two people that big coming at you?
No,
That's
they're
okay. That's
not
you.
saying that
Okay.
yet. I mean, they're saying it's self-defense. They are saying it's self-defense. I mean, that's they have to say that. I mean, I don't even have to say, but they are saying it's a self-defense thing. They're not saying it's a weight issue. They're saying it was a self-defense
Okay.
thing. Yeah.
They're just not
That's what
saying
they're
anything
calling
about
it.
weight.
Yeah.
I got you.
No, I'm sure that'll come
Okay.
out, but I mean, yeah, and it was a 2-on-1. I mean that's almost that's almost like common sense. You go in a light screen.
So when you're saying it's
2-on-1.
2-on-1, is the family saying the twins are trying to jump Carmelo?
Well, they were both approaching him, and one had already shoved him. I mean, even the brother who's alive said, I quote him, "My brother always has my back."
So now he's saying that Carmelo Anthony was actually shoved by one of the twins, which would be Austin, I guess, put hands on him first. And then Hunter, who you see right here, said that my brother always has my back, meaning he protects him in some capacity. Let's go back up here and let this play out some more.
Went over there to Jack with them.
That's right. Carmelo, that's my girlfriend.
I have no further questions, Denali.
Yeah,
Thank you.
she will she'll let her rip out. She knows Andrew too. She knows
Right.
Andrew too.
We're going to go to
Yeah.
Mr. EK. EK, my good friend up there in Chicago. Do you have any questions for Mark Anthony, 10-year friend of Andrew Anthony, Carmelo Anthony's dad?
I do, and thank you for coming on the platform and giving us some insight from your point of view, Mr. Anthony. The question I have is, you mentioned earlier that the brother said that they had taken his backpack. Is that accurate?
Okay, here we go.
If that was the case, how was he able to get the poker out of the backpack?
Boom. Here it goes, everybody. Here it comes. We're coming back. We're coming to it. Let me just say this again. Mark Anthony, friend of 10 years of Carmelo Anthony's father, says that they took his backpack away from him. You're going to hear him say they threw his backpack. You also heard him say that one of the Austin twins, I think it was one of them, put hands on Carmelo, pushed him. This man saying, well, how did he get him with a poker? You're going to find out. Remember I said they threw his bag and they still were coming after him, still approaching him. And then we hear this story about him saying, if y'all touch me, see what happens. Well, when they put hands on him and then threw the bag, he had to go retrieve his bag. And in retrieving his bag, here comes the poker. Because they were still coming after him. And they acted as if they owned that seat. The father said that he had no business being there. He had every right to be there. You don't own any damn bleachers at a ball game or a baseball game or a football game or a track meet like this. Nobody owns any bleachers.
They threw it. They took it.
So
and
they took the poker.
And he went back to retrieve it. He went back to retrieve it, and they're coming and they're walking toward him. And he says, "I'm going to punch you in the face inward." And so here comes all this weight at him.
So bam, Mark Anthony says that they said to him that they're going to punch you. I'm going to punch you inward. So they threw his bag. They still were coming after him. And now he says that the racial component to it comes into play here, where they said they're going to hit him. I'm going to hit you inward. Everybody's been telling us, oh, there was no racial component to this, right? Now, people are going to challenge him on this and say, well, why didn't this come out in the press? Mark Anthony says because the press has been biased against Carmelo Anthony. They've been calling him a thug. They see him as a thug. They don't see him as someone worth having the right to be seen as, hey, give him his due process. Let him, if he says he was using self-defense, let's see exactly how this plays out in court. They've already have been painting the image and the ideology. This young 17-year-old minor was just out for blood. He was just out to harm someone in any way that he could. You see, that he was just out, that he was just bloodthirsty, and that's it. That there was no other variables that caused him to do what he did, that he was just a thug black kid who did not give a damn, that his life was not threatened, that he was just a thug that we're now finding out. He ain't no thug, everybody, but a young man that we're finding out was on his way to doing great things in aerospace engineering, had the grades, taking advanced courses, not just an athlete, but a scholar athlete on top of it all. If he could just get rid of this guy to the right, Dominique Alexander, who I think is trying to make a name off of this whole thing, just my opinion. Some Negroes have to be removed from situations, and he's one of them that I believe. Go see my video on Truth Media Raw. Drop the Truth Media Raw in the chat room, mods, if you don't mind, for those that are here who would like to subscribe to that channel. Let's get back to this right now. This is explosive.
So allegedly, I think this will come out. Allegedly, a hand is thrown, and Carmelo is trying to block it. Before this is said, though, he says, "I'm going to punch you in the face." He goes, touch me again and see what happens.
Yell at night. How you doing?
To touch him.
Sincere. How you doing?
Tried to block it, and then a little pokey happened. I shouldn't say little.
Sell Your Life podcast. How you doing?
They threw the bag. Carmelo went to.
Let me stop this. I know I've been talking over it. I'm gonna bring it back so y'all can hear. I just want to acknowledge people in the chat room. We got Nightfall Drop. How you doing, brother? Yo, Information Man. I wonder what the racial makeup was of the other witnesses there, cause saying racial slurs is hardly ever done in mixed company. You'd be surprised. I mean, you keep this in mind. You've got kids of other ethnic group that use the N-word, right? I'm in California, man. You can't get as ethnically mixed up as we got out here. Okay. I've heard kids that were Chinese, Hispanic, Asian, Japanese. I've seen kids of all races use that N-word, right? Because they hear these hip hop artists using that N-word so loosely, right? I've heard, man, you'd be surprised how many of these kids in these mixed communities, if you want to call it that, you'd be surprised how many of these kids still be using the N-word towards each other, and they'll use them on us. And you'd be surprised, even if they're in mixed company, how many of these kids would use this type of language and where does this come from? It makes you wonder, is it in the household? Is it around are they getting it from the other kids that they hang out with? At the end of the day, even though you have people of different ethnic groups in these communities, America is not clean of its racism. America is still a racial polarized country, right? We still live in a country where people have stereotypical views of different ethnic groups. And certainly people have a stereotypical ideology in the way they see, we got to be honest, black males. In the way they see black males, they see us as dangerous. They see us as someone that they need to neutralize at all given time. I mean, damn it, let's be honest about this. How we are perceived in this society, everybody, how we are perceived. Let's keep that $100 here. Now, let's get back to this video. Appreciate you coming through, brother. I moved it back a little bit so y'all can hear what maybe y'all missed hearing. And here we go.
Retrieved the bag, and that's how he was able to get his hand on the poker.
So let's go back a little bit. He retrieved the bag. Here we go.
You mentioned earlier that the brother said that they had taken his backpack. Is that accurate? So if that was the case, how was he able to get the poker out of the backpack?
They threw it. They took it.
So they took the poker.
And he went back to retrieve it. He went back to retrieve it, and they're coming and they're walking toward him. And he says, "I'm going to punch you in the face inward." And so here comes all this weight at him. So allegedly, I think this will come out. Allegedly, a hand is thrown, and Carmelo is trying to block it. Before this is said, though, he says, "I'm going to punch you in the face." He goes, "Touch me again and see what happens." Well, he tried to touch him. Carmelo tried to block it. And then a little pokey happened. I shouldn't say a little.
So they grabbed the bag. They threw the bag. Carmelo went to retrieve the bag. And that's how he was able to get his hand on the poker.
Right. And that's kind of what I was saying earlier to the young lady when I said, if I took her purse and tossed it and she's going to get her stuff and she had a pew-pew in there and, defended herself against me.
So
I was just trying to put that together.
And you're saying that a racial slur was said to Carmelo.
Oh, yeah.
So where did you hear this information from, Mr. Anthony?
Oh,
here it comes.
That I heard in the bond hearing.
Bond hearing. Stop it. Bond hearing, because he was at the bond hearing. Pull this back a little bit back. Here we go.
Took her purse and tossed it, and she's going to get her stuff, and she had a pew-pew in there and, defended herself against me.
So
I was just trying to put that together.
And you're saying that a racial slur was said to Carmelo.
Oh, yeah.
So where did you hear this information from, Mr. Anthony?
Oh, that I heard in the bond hearing when they were trying to, and he came out and it was admitted. That was all said.
So has that been reported in the press?
It was.
Well, my question, Mr. Anthony,
those were the words.
All that you're saying now, there were other people at the bond here, and I'm assuming there were press people there, correct?
Correct.
There wasn't. They didn't.
Yeah, but there were some press people there, correct?
Well, I can speak to that because I did watch a report. I think it was on ABC 7.
Check this out.
Where they had a round table with two reporters and an anchor person, and they kind of went through what was going on in the bond.
Boom. So he's saying Mark Anthony, the friend of Carmelo Anthony's father for 10 years, says that There was things that were said in the bond hearing that we didn't hear, everybody. The gentleman on the panel did ask a legitimate question about, was there press there? Why didn't he get out to the press? If the press is trying to make Carmelo Anthony the monster, which they have from day one, if they're trying to make him the monster, everybody, then of course, if you got this biased press that don't look like us, let's keep it real. And this is the state of Texas, y'all. Then obviously they don't want anything that makes Austin Metcalf or the Metcalf family look bad. Because obviously they have sympathy for the father who has lost a son, and they don't want to do anything to make him look bad. The white supremacists have to promote this as being what it is to push the narrative that Carmelo Anthony is a thug, that he's a ratchet of the earth. Let me send this back. Let y'all see this one. We're going to come right back to this. Don't worry. But let me give y'all a reminder of what happened, how this whole thing spreads, the white supremacy and the hate and the bias from the media and characters who should be in prison that Donald Trump released out of prison that were involved in the January 6th situation. This guy, Jake here. Remember I played this in the last video? Let me just give you a little taste of this. And I got to be honest, to the credit of Mr. Metcalf, he wanted no parts of what the white supremacist was talking about. At least it appeared that way. Check this out. That's just a reminder, everybody.
You're creating more Austin Metcalfs with your weakness, sir. Thanks. You are creating more Austin Metcalfs with your weakness.
Here, you are being weak. I gotta be honest with you about that, sir.
You're being weak. Condemn your son's killer and the culture that caused it.
Hey, Jeff.
That's the problem. You've been submitted.
Hold on, Jeff.
You've been submitted.
I'll handle it from here.
You've been submitted, sir.
You're not gonna make us back down.
If we were all of your nature,
guys, listen.
You're not gonna say
what a weak man.
Do you know who you're talking to? You don't, do you?
I'm talking to a black man.
You don't. No, you're not.
Okay.
You sit here, you talk about Trump.
But I am. You're not
Google my name and Trump.
Remember I told y'all that these white supremacists, whenever you are a black person and you've been pushing the water, you've been carrying the lunchbox in the water for white supremacists, they don't give a damn that you're a supporter of their causes because you're nothing but sheep to them. You're nothing but a token. Didn't Nick Fuentes just say that to Jason Woodlock, that he's a token? You're simply a token. This black man think because he's a supporter of Trump and he's got a connection to Trump, that somehow that gives him the Negro pass to calm the white man down from not, talking bad about Metcalf, the father. Y'all must be crazy. And by the way, how y'all like what Trump is doing to the country? I'm going to do a video because there's something coming down the pipeline that we may all need to get ready for. You better get ready for empty shelves. They're coming your way. We're going to be living just like we did during that COVID. And this is all because y'all wanted Daddy Trump. And Daddy Trump has screwed everything up. You got to laugh to keep from crying. Let's get back to the original video here. This is nonsense.
Well, press there.
So my question is, this is the first time that I'm hearing anything about what occurred in the bond hearing. And my assumption is if there were press people there, they would have put this information out.
But you know what? They're not. And it's like the first time this all went out. It was, they're trying to, the press don't want to admit that they're wrong. Fox News wanted to make Carmelo out to be a thug. And now that this is coming back around, because the brother had such a lame statement, didn't want to say that, we took his bag, we shoved him. That wasn't said. They're making him out to be a thug. Yeah, and so now that we know these things, it's kind of, oh, you don't hear
Well,
Fox
Fox
going,
is
hey,
not
we
the
didn't
only
have all
media
the
outlet.
information.
Donali just said ABC had
Right.
people there. That's not Fox.
Right. Right. But see, nobody wants to come back around and go, oh, you know what? This kid now with an aerospace engineering degree had, 400 pounds come out. We don't want to say we were sorry or wrong. I've never heard a newscast say, oh, we made the wrong call. We're sorry. They have to stick with that. I mean, there was this little lady in the picture that I texted that to you, right?
Which one?
Denali, didn't I text you that? With there's a little lady in that thing, and she was on Fox News or whatever newscast. She kept saying, and in the videos that I sent you, she kept saying, "Why did he come armed? Why did he come armed?" I mean, they
right. That is a big thing about.
It's not illegal to have that. She kept saying that. Well, it's not illegal. It's just. I mean, I played sports. I played hockey. He cut athletic tape.
I personally think that the K&I is not going to come into play, only because I was looking at the case in Allison case, and they didn't charge him for bringing a KNIF on school property. They only charge him with the charge of murder.
Wow. Let me do something here. Let me put up, let me read what a few people are saying here. What's going on, Gray Pill Podcast? Deadly force selection 9.32 of the Texas Penal Code status that a person is justified in using deadly force against another if one, they would be justified in using force under section 9.31. Thank you, Gray Pill Podcast. Let's see. Tiffany Jackson says, how could the trespassing, the Trumpster not see the coming Trump is not a smart man, not a political scientist. Trumpsters were blind by their sexism, racism, and how that's working for you now. It's not working. I'm going to say it again. I want everybody to watch this video that I'm going to do. I am going to do an emergency broadcast. Not live, but it'll be a produced video because I've been looking at a lot of other channels. There's a white boy who's a trucker, and he's saying that a lot of truckers are not getting any loads on their vehicles. We are going to be living like we did during COVID, where we're going to have empty shelves. This is because of one man and one man only, Donald Trump. For you raccoons out there that voted for him at 21%, you're a sucker. And for the white folks that voted for him, white men at 59%, you're a sucker too. White women that voted for him at 54%, you're a sucker. And Latino men, you're a sucker for voting for Trump at around the same amount, 54%. What a damn shame.
Tell the truth.
Let's get back to the broadcast, shall we?
That's exactly. And me and my girlfriend were talking about that today. You know, how many people, well, you've been kicked out of school for having one, you've been suspended for having one, but you don't get criminal charges for having one. And they don't understand. Some people, you know, I love Illinois. I was born just south of that, Missouri and St. Louis, but I can't put Missouri law into Texas. It doesn't fit. It's a square hole in a round peg, you know? It's different down here. I mean, the stand your ground is different than the castle law. I mean, they're both laws down here, but Carmelo didn't have to leave. I mean, no coaches is coming up and saying, oh, you know, Carmelo was causing problems. No one is saying in the whole thing that he was causing problems, but yet they made him out to be a thug in the beginning.
Whoa. Now, look, didn't I say that? Look. Let's be honest. This white man is completely off code. He will not be well received by his white, the white community, the white folks in his community. I guarantee you when this man goes out shopping and does various things in the community, after they've seen him speak like this, they're definitely going to call him, you know, the typical words that they call people that he's not on code. He's off code. And because of that, he's going to get some hate from his own folks. But he is telling the truth here, everybody.
Tell the truth.
Let me look in the chat. Let me go in the chat room real quick. This whole thing is really I don't know what to say. What's going on, Sincere? How you doing? Allison Angel is coming to the house. And I want to say thank you. I got your message earlier today saying Dominique Alexander has a long criminal record. Click on my video on the Truth Media channel, Truth Media Raw. Scroll down this channel. You'll see the Truth Media Raw logo. Click into that, subscribe, hit the bell notification. Thank you. We got the Neighborhood Watch, and thank you for supporting the channel. Neighborhood Watch, this Information Man show. Yep, that's what they do. Bullies, just like the white boy and his brother. Interesting. Typo. So if a black man voted for Trump, he's a raccoon. Far as I'm concerned, you are, because he's not doing anything that's benefiting the country. And the last time I checked, Trump wants to get rid of our Black History museums. He's trying to edit the damn museums. You got a Black History Museum in Washington, D.C. He wants to get rid of exhibits that exemplify the things that happen to us in our community. So you are a damn coon if you voted for him. I knew Trump's history. He's got a racist. Look, I did videos on my channel about how he lied about giving money primarily to black colleges. He wanted to take money away from black colleges originally. It was a black woman that was responsible for the money that they got, not Trump. And I don't care about Trump coming out defending Shador Sanders. That's just a way that's just something that he does to manipulate black people to make you think that he's for you because he comes out and defends someone prominent like Shador Sanders. That don't mean nothing. All you got to do is look at his policies. His policies are hurting black people. He's already stripping the civil rights division. He's already going after our damn museums and our history, rewriting history, or attempting to do so. Who you think's going to be impacted by the Social Security and the Medicare? You got tons of black folks that's on Social Security and Medicare. So he's indirectly going to impact your family members. Not to mention the racism that he engaged in New York when he discriminated against black people in housing, him and his father. And they also did the same thing to black people in Maryland. And how would you put your trust in a man who couldn't even run a casino? He bankrupted a casino. How do you bankrupt a casino? Because he's not a real businessman. He's a joke. And he's been pillaging money from the taxpayers into his own coffers. And then he's got Elon Musk messing around with our personal information. So the hell with Trump and the hell with those of you who voted for him. You are a raccoon. I don't care who any of you are on these YouTube streets or not. I call you a raccoon, and that's what you are. Let's put the raccoon back up here to symbolize what I'm talking about. You damn it, Skippy, I'm going to say that. Yes, you are, because you voted for somebody that's hurting the country and also hurting black folks. Going after us, going after things that protect us in this country, going after laws that were put together by people like Dr. King and many of our ancestors. He's attacking everything and destroying this country, putting us in a fascist state. So damn right I say it. Damn Skippy, I'm going to say it. You don't like it? Hit the road, Jack. And don't come back no more, no more, no more. Now, let's get back to the regular program tonight. Excuse me for my rant, everybody.
Yeah, he's talking on the phone to a girl. And so, he's a good-looking cat. He's got a good family behind him. He's going places, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, nobody wants to go back on that and really start talking the truth, because unfortunately, what BLEEDS reads. You know, if it was, oh, you know, this poor kid getting picked on, you know, by
well,
I can't say all that, but it's just a boring story. We got to hype this up. You know, let's make him a thug.
EK, anything else, EK?
Yeah. The only other question I've had, there have been rumors, and are you aware of not if there is a videotape of the whole incident?
So yeah, I couldn't put that in any comment. I've tried to so many times, but they don't let you put so many words and letters. The judge has put out like this all out. If anybody has video, and you decide to put that on social media, well, one, it could foul up any jury if there's a jury, and I forget if she called it tampering with witnesses. She put something out there that was pretty strict.
So basically, everybody, if anybody has a video that was at this event and they put it on social media, they're going to be in some serious trouble. They will be facing charges. The judge, Mrs. Angela right here, who has gotten death threats, who has had her personal information put out there, who's been doxxed, and the same people who have been doxing this woman and doxing the family, Carmelo Anthony's family, and the same people who want to see Carmelo Anthony burn are the same people that support Trump. Like this white boy right here who says black people been beating up on him right here.
You're creating more Austin Metcalfs with your weakness, sir. You are creating more Austin Metcalfs with your weakness.
Here, you are being weak. I gotta be honest with you about that, sir.
You're being weak. Condemn your son's killer and the culture that caused it.
Hey, Jeff.
That's the problem.
He's talking about black culture, even though we know this is American culture, because American culture feeds on violent behavior, right?
You've been submitted.
Hold on, Jeff.
You've been submitted.
I'll handle it from here.
You've been submitted, sir.
You're not gonna make
If
us
we
back
were all,
down.
if we were all of your nature,
Guys, listen.
You're not gonna say
what a weak man.
Do you know who you're talking to? You don't, do you?
I'm talking to a black man.
You don't. No, you're not.
Okay.
You sit here, you talk about Trump.
But I am. You're not
Google my name is Trump. No. When you do that, my name is.
I agree with black men.
No, Google that.
But they're not winning right now.
You're doing,
they're becoming degenerates.
What you're doing
and murdering white people.
You're not helping.
See, the white boy is a Trump supporter, says that black people are taking the lives of white people. Here you got an individual who's a Trumper, the black man on the right. The white boy don't give a damn about you being a Trump voter or a supporter of Trump, because the white boy is supporting what? White supremacy. He's supporting white people being in power and control. He's worried about his race. He doesn't care about you Negroes that voted for Trump. This is how most of these Trump white supremacist off-right white boys think. This brother sitting up here trying to appeal to him because he's a Trump, he knows Trump, and the white boy saying, I don't care. You guys are violent. You guys are attacking white people. Shit. I mean, you think I'm going to vote for something like that? Shit. Okay? Shit. Those are the people that's hating on Carmelo Anthony. These are Trumpers. These are right-wing. These are white supremacists. These are off-right individuals who are all supporters of Donald Trump. And when he says that word, make America great again, the real decoded word is make America white again. That's what he really wants to see. And that is the truth.
Tell the truth.
And that's why when you are a black conservative and you try to appeal to these people, they don't really give a damn about you. Because this is the thing everybody needs to understand. White supremacists are not about going against their own people. So when you black conservatives who criticize black America continue to buck dance and coon out for these white conservatives or the off-right, you're actually going against your own people. You will never see them go against their own people. When they will always stick boot, line, and sinker with their movement, with their people. They won't. And when one of their own steps out and speaks on our behalf, he's no good anymore to them. No good. So why the hell should you be any good to us when you step out of line and betray us supporting this crap? Because these are the same people. It goes hand in hand, everybody. These are the same people that's hating on Carmelo Anthony. These are the same people that's calling Carmelo Anthony a thug. Most of the people that's been denigrating the young man have been conservative, right-wing, conservative, Donald Trump leaning, and then the buck dancers and Sambo content creators that stop lock in line with them. Let's get back to it.
You do it, you're gonna be talking to me, and it won't be a good conversation. I forget what it was, but it was definitely a threat by the judge. That's a big
no. But my question is, are you?
Yes, there is video.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
To answer your question, yeah, absolutely. But the people who have it, they dare not post it because
I think the police have confiscated the phones that were there as well, if I'm not mistaken. Yes.
Some were.
Right.
Yes, some were.
Exactly,
yeah.
sincere.
Like, how many do they
good,
really get?
Good statements you left in the chat room.
Michelle.
All right, Denali, thank you. Thank you. You can drop me, and I appreciate you coming in, talking, Mr. Anthony. Thanks a lot. But you can drop me, Denali. I'll stay in the chat and free up the spot.
Thank you so much. Michelle from Texas. Now, you are in actual Texas, right? Near where Mark Anthony's at. Michelle?
Listen to
Hi,
this
Mr.
one, everybody.
Denali. Yes, I'm in the Dallas area. Hi, Mark. So I just wanted to clear up something because the Frisco ISD does prohibit weapons on their property and at their events, which you would agree that the stadium that this took place was owned by Frisco ISD, correct? Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay. So, and I just wanted to, I wanted to understand what you're meaning when you say.
My daughter's been to it. Yeah.
I want to understand what you're saying when you mean that Fox is trying to make him out to be a thug. Specifically, what did they say?
They are. Let's hear.
Did you see the first
I'm
interview?
asking you, what did they say? I saw the interviews, but I'm asking you because you're the one characterizing it as Fox is trying to characterize him as a thug. So I'm trying to understand what you mean by that.
Sure. I'll get her name. Amy, what's the lady on Fox?
Nubia, what's going on?
Time, the older lady, blonde. Megan Kelly?
Megan Kelly, that's what I was thinking
What's
too.
her name, honey?
Megan Kelly?
Laura Ingraham?
Laura Ingraham.
That's the one. Laura Ingraham, when she says, all over her seat, and I quote her, all over her seat, someone loses life. How tragic.
All over her seat.
And not saying anything about self-defense, but here we got Carmelo ending someone's life over a seat.
Over a seat.
Mark Anthony is an example of what I just said earlier. He's completely off code. So I'm sure there are going to be white folks in this community that's going to really take exception to the things he's saying if they get a chance to see this, this content.
Is that what you're saying?
Laura Ingraham.
Okay,
over
got
a seat.
you. I understand.
How tragic.
I understand. You're saying it's biased sounding.
Well, if you're gonna say something, say it on both sides.
Well, I mean, the same could be said for you. Because
I can say something positive about Metcalf boys too.
with all due respect, I mean, you are a friend of the Anthony family, and you're defending them. And like for instance, you haven't pointed out the fact that the Metcalf families have been swatted 3 times. That Mr. Metcalf also lost his job due to the threats happening to his place of employment. So,
has anybody, let me ask this question, because I think this woman came up here with an agenda. Has anybody heard that there's been threats on the life of Mr. Metcalf and his family? And I wonder if the threats could be coming from this dude, Jake, who was talking to him and telling him how he needs to be a part of the white supremacist club, right? I just wonder if that's where it's really coming from. I'm just wondering.
You're no more patriotic than I am. No way.
Silent is
Where
not
were you
helping.
on January
You've
6th?
been silent. It's only gotten worse.
Where were you on January 6th?
They always have their sellouts.
Where were you? Did you stand for your
They
country?
always,
You think that
as you
made
can see
sense?
right
Because you
there,
showed up.
he has a black guy that's hanging his hand over it. They always have their buck dancers. They always have their Stevens, like Django Unchained. You're always gonna have a Steven that's gonna rock with his master. But I wonder if some of these people that's trying to convince Mr. Metcalf to be a part of the the club, if they might be some of the ones that's doing the death threats on him, but making it seem like it's coming from black people. Because remember doing the BLM marches, and I'm not a supporter of the Black Lives Matter thing, with the whole website and them trying to take men out of the whole equation of family. But this is what I'm saying. During the BLM marches and all the shit that was happening in the streets, they had everybody thinking that it was BLM supporters that were the ones breaking stuff up. Come to find out, it was white boys that were dressing like they were part of BLM, breaking windows, smashing out stuff. I played it on this channel. And come to find out, they were trying to make it look like BLM was the one that was getting involved in helter-skelter behavior when it was white supremacists that were disguising themselves as being part of BLM, and they were the main ones causing the destruction. Well, could the same thing be true, that they could be, he could be having threats on him and his family because these white supremacists are saying, let's make it look like it's black people attacking him. Now he lost his job. I want to know where are the reports that black people are harassing him and his family and causing him to lose his job. Because the last time I checked, it's been put out there, even by the media, that the Carmelo Anthony family has been getting harassed. Now, the media did put that out, as well as lying on them. Just a caveat that I had to put out there. Let's get back to it.
If we wanted, yeah. So let's draw a full rounded picture here. But I do want to understand more about what you're talking about the mom, because the mom said in her statement, the stepmom, in her press conference said that she stays at home with the kids. But you're saying that she was employed and she lost her job?
Yes, okay. That's what he's saying. Lady Kylie,
the mom.
The mom, yeah, she said it.
I'm talking about.
You see what's happening here? This woman is coming up here and she's trying to make it seem like it's all a lie. They're living high on the hog. She's very concerned about, well, the mom, did she lose her job? The man just said she lost her job. You were very emphatic about Mr. Metcalf, the father, losing his job. You were very frank about it. Nobody questioned what you said, but now you want to question about the mother and what her status is, which really ain't none of your damn business, to be quite honest.
Talking about Carmelo's,
right.
Anthony's
Kayla, right?
Anthony's
Kayla Hayes, right? Okay,
right.
And she's
Kayla Hayes.
She's
Here
Carmelo's
she is.
Stepmother, correct?
All right. So what does it matter if she's his stepmother or biological mother? What they got to do with the case? They're still being harassed. If y'all with me, put sevens in the chat room. This white lady gets on here with an agenda. Let's go.
Yeah. So yeah, because one of the first rumors that was going around about them was that the dad was a doctor and the mom was a lawyer.
Oh, God.
But the record is that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I didn't even hear that one.
But
yeah,
he works in either at a car dealership or he works in some capacity.
They're so concerned about where the black man works. Do you see anybody talking about, let's find out where Metcalf work? What kind of work do Metcalf do? Huh? What's his occupation? Huh? How does he bring in his money? Huh? No, you don't hear nobody talking about that. But now all of a sudden, everybody concerned about what the father for Carmelo Anthony does. Isn't it interesting, everybody? Isn't it interesting?
In that manner.
He works at a car dealership. Yeah.
And you're saying that she was a nurse.
Yes.
Wait.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, I'm confused
They
now.
just don't believe. They don't
Kayla
want to believe.
Is Carmelo's biological mom, correct?
No.
I'm referring to the little lady that was at the press conference that was standing next to
That's
Andrew.
not his mom?
Anthony.
That's a stepmom.
Oh, it's a stepmom.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, how I
Yeah.
missed that?
I'm pretty
I
sure.
don't know.
Doesn't his mom still live in Baton Rouge, Mark?
Woo, they know all the business, huh? They doing all the research.
Wait a second.
Yes, in Louisiana. That's where the
Right.
whole family's from, is Louisiana, man.
Kayla Hayes is his stepmom. What?
Correct.
Yes. That's why when people say, the other story I've heard is, look at both parents, of course he's little. I'm like, that's not even his biological mother.
Well, where's his mom? Is his mom not coming forward?
And so, it's like I said, you don't hear anything from, well, I think a little too much was done. Even Andrew, at the press conference, and I hate using the word stepmom. It just doesn't sound very.
Well, I mean, it's just a technical
But,
word.
they didn't
It's just
say
a
much.
technical word. That's just
Well,
technically
I mean,
the relationship.
It is. It's a
I mean that because listen, I was curious why Anthony didn't say anything at the press conference.
Why the dad didn't say anything.
Yeah, he
Right,
didn't
the
say
dad. Right. And I gotta be honest, everybody. I really wanted him to speak too, because I would like to hear the father's perspective on everything, but it is what it is. His wife spoke, and the family has already told you what's the deal, what's happening, and let's continue.
So sometimes your mouth might slip, and and my lawyers always told me, like in my family custody with my, don't just answer the question, Mark, don't get into it.
Do you have any insight as to why the family kicked Mr. Metcalf out of the press conference instead of engaging with him and talking with him? I
think they felt,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, if they felt it was inappropriate, that's all. If it would have been discussed prior, I think he would have been more open and willing, because I'm going to say,
Wait a minute. Let me stop this right there. You see, right next to Metcalf, that's that brother that was trying to argue with the white supremacist white boy Jake, who should be in prison, but Donald Trump gave him amnesty. They say that they claim to be for the blue. They claim that they're for police, but all them white dudes was beating on the police, doing all sort of things to the police, and they still got a pardon. Isn't that interesting? But that's the dude right there that was on camera that I showed you, who had Jeff Metcalf's number, and was the white boy was trying to convince him to come on over to the white supremacist side. Unbelievable, y'all. It's crazy.
Tell the truth.
And then the Negro, the black man to the right there with the cowboy hat, thought that because he's friends with Donald Trump, that gives him a I can walk amongst the white supremacist card and they'll treat me with decency. That white boy told you he's tired of people that look like you, man, attacking white folks, which we know statistically is false, because statistically in this country, and you can look it up, black people are the biggest victims of people attacking. It's black folks. When it comes to white people attacking us, okay? Because I know somebody gonna say, what about the black on black crime? I'm talking about white people that attack us. We know that there are black people out there that are doing harm to black people, and it's not right. But we also know that white people engage in white on white crime as well, and every group affects each other based on living in close proximity. Let's continue with this video.
When Andrew called me, we were both in tears about it the next day, because nobody wants the loss of life, and that was the main reason why we were upset about it, because how could this happen between two kids? It was, his father is. It's not all about Carmelo.
Thank you, Mr. Anthony. Denali, you can drop me.
Okay.
And I really truly mean that. It's about both of them, both their families.
Yeah. I mean, I my gut feeling, this is just my gut feeling, an instinct about that situation. I think the representative is the one who made that call on their behalf. I feel like if it were just the families, they probably would have come together, but the representative
Talking
seems
about
to
this.
have an axe to grind, for lack of better words.
Talking about Dominique Alexander, the wannabe Al Sharpton character. And I'm sorry, folks. I can't defend this man. Check out my latest video on the Truth Media Raw channel. I go into a deep dive about this guy's background. It's a nasty background. It's a real nasty background. I got to be honest about it. Let's continue.
So, yeah.
I agree with that.
I don't think that he's the right person to be representing them. I think they seem like a good family, and it's maybe taking it to a level that it didn't need to necessarily go to. Both families are struggling, and it's a very sad situation all around. But thank you, Mr. Denali, for allowing me to ask a few questions.
No, thank you, Michelle. All right, we're going to go over to our guy, Vegas conservative.
Hello there, Mr. Anthony. So it seems to me you've implied from a lot of things you said that the outcome was justified. Is that your belief?
Let me stop there. Okay, Sincere said this. I wish he would have asked her this question. Why should they have engaged with him? They are trying to put him on the defense with those questions. Right. Tiffany Jackson says the nation is also having real hard times with the families being a working class family and a dysfunctional white. The black family is middle class, close, and a son with a distinctive position, positive future. Yeah, that's what he was on the track to get a scholarship, maybe to college, but also he's on the track to go into engineering. And they said he was taking some heavy duty classes for that. Miss Independent My Way, I still can't believe they were pondering and people are looking up for less than, oh, wow. They are looking for anything they can to use against Carmelo's family. Nubian says the thing is we're not even thinking about white people have the time the way they constantly obsess with us this and can't leave us alone. Yeah, a lot of times black people in America, we don't want to be bothered by nobody. We want to live our lives like everybody else, but everybody wants to keep messing with us. When we be minding our own business, it's crazy how that works, everybody. Let's continue.
Well, I haven't heard all the pieces of the puzzle, and I'm thirsty for information too, for facts. Not skeptic. Hang on one sec, sir. Amy, she'll be fine. She'll hear my voice, get away, and she'll come.
All right, everybody, let's go to the next video now. Here we go.
Letting her walk around.
Okay, so what is it? So you're friends with Andrew Anthony, 10-year friends?
Here we go.
Yes, Carmelo Anthony's dad.
What does he do for a living? Then?
Everybody, one of the things I notice, everybody, is that these folks are so obsessed with what he does for a living because of the house that they live in, which, by the way, they're renting, and one of the vehicles that they drive. I know they got a GMC truck, right? He bought the son a car for his birthday because, once again, they can't deal with black people living in the middle, having a middle-class life or upper middle-class life. We have to be in squalor. We got to be living like good times in the projects. We got to be eating dog food. We got to be, outdoors, homeless. We got to be struggling. We got to be living in some rundown community with grass that's unkept and garbage can falling out of a garbage bin. Y'all saw the video that I did last time when I ran I ran a neighborhood in Texas that was a real bad neighborhood. That's what, if I'm telling you, if Carmelo Anthony's father, hear what I'm saying, everybody. If Carmelo, that's his father right there. If Carmelo Anthony's father was living in a bad community, a downtrodden community, everything was tore up, I doubt if these white folks on this thing would be getting on this panel saying, by the way, what does Carmelo Anthony's father do for a living? Oh, I think he works they would not be asking this question because they would just assume, oh, it's a poor black family. The father probably don't even work. The father probably in and out of jail, ain't got no money, ain't got no college education, ain't got nothing going for himself. He's probably come from, if it was a single mama situation, this woman wouldn't be saying nothing about what does the mama do for a living. But because they are living in a nice neighborhood, appear to be living in a nice house, now everybody's concerned about what he does for a living, what the mama do for a living. Everybody. But if this man was in and out of jail, thugged out, y'all know, put 7s in the chat room if y'all know I'm cooking right now with grease. If he was thugged out, in and out of jail, got a drinking or drug problem, nobody would be saying, what does Carmelo Anthony's father do for a living? They would just assume another black family that's living in garbage cans. Y'all know I'm telling the truth. Y'all get truth over here on the Information Man Show.
Tell the truth.
What's up, Yalpo, Alicia? I see y'all. Good folks coming in the chat room. Black Magic in the house. The Informant Media. Check out his channel. Jimmy Davis comes in. Everyday People comes in. Facts. Nubian God is in the house. Neighborhood Watch is in the house. Miss Independent My Way is in the house. Sincere has been rocking with us today. Check out her channel as well. Check out the Gray Pill Podcast. He got a channel as well. Pretty Brown Eyes. Y'all know I'm telling the damn truth.
Tell the truth.
Now, let's get back to the scheduled program.
Mark.
Mark?
What does he do for a living?
He's in finance with cars.
Yes,
Okay, he's in
that's
finance.
what he does. He works at
All
a
right.
car dealership, and when you buy a car,
Yeah, you're right. Nissan, right? I agree.
No.
I already knew. I
No.
knew the answer this way.
If you listen, now check this out. Let me calm myself down, everybody. See, she had an agenda. If she already knew what he did for a living, then what was the point of getting on this panel on TikTok and asking such question if you already knew because you had an agenda? Now, Mark Anthony says, no, he doesn't work for Nissan, but he does work for some type of car facility where he works in finance. She gets up there and says, what does he do for a living? But then turns around and tries to tell the man that's been a 10-year friend of this man right here, Carmelo Anthony's father. You knew what he already did for a living, but you get up there, show your behind, and say, I already knew he works for Nissan. And then Mark Anthony says, no, slow down, lady. Slow your shit down. Check it out.
Mark? He's in finance with cars.
yes, that's what he does. He works at a car dealership, and when you buy a car,
Yeah, you're right. Nissan, right? I agree.
No.
I already knew. I knew
No.
the answer this way.
no,
I see.
no,
Not
that's the
Nissan.
wrong. Nope, doesn't work for Nissan.
Anymore, I guess.
Well, I mean, ma'am, what did you
what?
come up, ma'am? Did you come up to test him, or do you have a legitimate question about the case?
But it's not Nissan.
Well, I don't think he has any answers about the
Ma'am,
the
do you
case,
have
to be
a
honest.
question
He's
for
just
me?
up
you
to
just tried to
his
tell me he works for
opinion.
Nissan, and he don't work for Nissan.
Ma'am, did you come up with a legitimate question? Well, she's okay. She's out of here.
Woo!
I mean, like, the man, Mr. Mark Anthony, give me some time. We don't need that. If you have a legitimate question, he'll answer it if he can. But let's not come up with the trying to get somebody because you have a narrative
I'm gonna
that
get you.
like to spin. Please don't do that. This is an honest conversation. He's telling you what he can tell you, and you decide whether you believe it or not. But let's
Facts.
not do that because he is a guest of mine, and I'm not going to allow that.
Mr. Nelly, can I just say something real quick and you could drop
Sure.
me back down? Hey, Mark, how you doing? It's Yo-Yo.
Hey, Yo-Yo. How are you
doing?
today?
I just wanted to come up and make it clear to everyone that obviously he's not going to be giving any pertinent information, that even if he does know about the case, he is strictly here just to talk about his personal opinions, personal things he may know about the family outside of the case. Of course, he's not going to be discussing the case itself on the show. That's common sense. That's it. So people come in thinking he's not telling us anything we don't know. Well,
I can't incriminate the family. I mean, I can't. If a prosecutor's listening or something like that, I can't give them any cards.
He has been vetted. We know for a fact that he is his friend. I'm just seeing the comments of people like he doesn't know him. Blah, blah, blah. So I just wanted to come up and clarify some things.
That's
for
fine.
People
They can
who
have
don't know what they're talking about. So that's it. He was courteous enough to come and give us some of his time. And he is a guest on the show. So I just want him to be treated properly. That's all.
Don't worry, he will, because he's a guest. We invited him and he's going to be treated as such. If you have a legitimate question, but these gotcha kind of thing, I'm not going to allow.
Someone said doesn't mean he's right. It's his opinion, just like you have an opinion.
Absolutely.
That's all it is. We all come up here with opinions every day. He's no different than anyone else. He's just been courteous enough to come to the show.
Good point.
I know that
Good point.
me talking to him, I've learned some things I didn't know. Like he said, Carmelo got accepted to the, what'd you say, Mark, what'd you say?
Aerospace.
Yeah, I didn't know that, or I didn't know someone tried to kick their door in. Little things like
The reason now, Mark Anthony says that someone tried to kick their door in at their home. And the reason why you didn't know that he got a scholarship to go to college for aerospace engineering, we need black folks to be working on space, is because the media wants you to think that he's a thug. That's why they put that picture out of Carmelo Anthony holding a air gun, which was basically like a BB gun. And then you've got the Metcalf twins, who actually got trained to use real guns with real bullets in it. But this is the reason why they had to dirty up his background and say that he's a this and he's a thug and he's this, because when you really look at his background, the young man is a scholar. Now, unfortunately, this situation happened. I wish it wouldn't have happened. I wish he wouldn't have had to defend himself in the manner that he did, because he could be looking at spending a lot of time in prison, in jail, if this court case doesn't go his way. But this is what the media does when it's black people who, when we defend ourselves. When white boys do all kind of stuff, they take forever to tell you what their name is. They take forever to show you what their picture is. They take forever and forever. And then when they do something, they try to make a hero out of them. Look what happened to Daniel Penny. When Daniel Penny took the life of Jordan, when he took that young man's life, that man had problems. Yes, that man was homeless. Yes, he had mental health problems. But when he took his life, they kept repeating to you, he's a Marine, he's a Marine, he spent time in a Marine, he served his country. They did everything to clean up his image, to keep you from not seeing him as being criminal for what he did, but to see him as he's a Marine, he's a real American, he's a white guy, he's a real American. Y'all know I'm telling the truth.
Tell the truth.
Okay, I got a super chat by Miss Jackson, $5. She says, why aren't they? Let me put you on the screen real quick with your super chat. Where are you at? Where are you at? Where is that super chat from this lovely lady who just gave me the super chat? Here we go. Let's put it on the screen right here for everybody to see. $5 from Adrian. Jackson says, why aren't they asking about Metcalf's family? I understand their family is dysfunctional family. Austin, right. I think the mother has, Mark Anthony said in this video that the mother has has had a serious drinking issue alleged. Okay. Thank you for that super chat. Let me give you a clap.
Thank you for the super chat.
Appreciate you. Sincere, let me see what you're saying up here real quick. Miss Independent, you'd be amazed how many stalkers are on YouTube and how many of them are Rosewood folks and leading cone bias by their noses. Man, this stuff is a trip. I tell you, I think for Carmelo Anthony to respond in such a extreme manner, this was ongoing conflict between all parties, and he may have snapped. Yeah, you would snap too if somebody is putting hands on you and you fear for your life, or you think that you're going to be in serious body injury, I would agree with you. What's going on, Yapo? Since when does having a mental health crisis deserve the death penalty? Interesting. That's a very interesting point, Yapo. Thank you for that. Let's get back over here and hear some more.
Like that you might not know. So it's kind of like he doesn't have to be here. So if we could just be gracious and be courteous, I would appreciate it. And I just wanted to come up and say that, Mr. Knight, because I've been seeing rude things in the comments.
Yeah,
I don't want to have to mute, I don't want to have to mute people, but I
You know
will.
what to do with the comments, but he's a guest.
She must
He's
be a
gonna
mod.
treated as such.
Okay, I don't want to have to mute people, but I will.
Listen, you do what
That's
you
all I
gotta do.
wanted to say, but I'll do what I have to do. But I wanted to give a warning first. You know what I mean?
You do what you gotta do, because I'm not gonna allow it, because he's a guest. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all.
We don't
Nothing
treat
else.
our guests that way. That's all I
No,
want to
you
say.
do not.
All right. Thank you, Mark, again. Talk to you later.
All right. Okay. All right.
You can drop me. Bye, everybody.
Miss Loretta.
Hi, Mr. Denelli and
Loretta.
everyone.
Shout
on
out to
your
Denelli.
page.
He's
Thank
on
you for allowing me
TikTok.
to come
Denelli
up.
is his name. TikTok.
I would just like to
Priest to the brother.
apologize on behalf of you for some of the mean things that I don't even know you, but people just are mean. And I wasn't at the bond hearing, but I was at the press conference. And I
Okay.
just wanted to ask you, Mark, and I know that once you come in contact with the family, you'll understand the atmosphere, the vibe, and the temperature. Once you start getting privy to certain things, you absolutely cannot discuss them. And they make it very clear that some things just have to wait until the attorneys and the proper authorities or people that's working the case come out with them. So I know that. I know how he feels on that behalf after attending the press conference. But I did have a question for you, Mark, because I did not want to overwhelm Drew and Kayla with getting their numbers and stuff. And there is a group that is trying to do something for them. The Order of the Eastern Star here in Texas would like to bless them and just need information. If you can get that to me, either inbox me.
The Order of the Eastern Star would like to support the Carmelo Anthony, the family. Interesting.
So that can be taken care of for them, whoever the third party is that's handling that.
I can't. Shit. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about? That GoFundMe that Andrew sent, and you can put that anywhere, because that is legit. That came from his father. If you want to.
I didn't hear what you said.
You broke up the first part of your statement, Mark.
I can forward you with that screenshot, but the GoFundMe that came from Andrew, if you want, and send that to her if you'd like.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I heard you perfectly. Yes, I did.
So I will forward that to him. I'll see if I can do that now. Let's see.
Because Kaylin and Drew made a statement that they thought that they were all alone in this, and they are not alone.
No, it is not Dominique Alexander. That is Mark Anthony, 10-year friend to Carmelo Anthony's dad. They've been friends for 10 years with Carmelo. They've been friends. He's been friends with Carmelo Anthony's dad for 10 years, and he's just coming up giving his opinion, as well as some things that he has already said in the media. And he's able to answer any questions that he can. If he can't answer, he can't answer it.
So I just sent you the GoFundMe that Andrew sent me, and of the screenshot that I sent you earlier.
Okay, is that the Give Send?
Yeah, Give Send Go. Give Send Go is the official.
That one.
Oh, Loretta, I
Give
think I
Send
might
Go.
be able to send it to you. I think no, I can't right now. But it is. I did send it to.
Yeah. So officially, the only thing that they are doing as far as taking donations is Give, Send, Go. Anything else would not be authorized. Is that correct, Mark?
I got you.
So.
Gotcha.
Right here, Gifts and Go. That's the only site that they're using to take in money for his support. And they do not have a GoFundMe. So anybody putting out there a GoFundMe or a PayPal, it's all cap. Of course, his uncle did create originally a PayPal. I don't know what's come of that PayPal, but there were people out there making fake accounts, and the CEO of Give, Send, Go has already come out and say everything is legit with the money that they're getting, that all the stuff that people have been saying has been a lie.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Mrs. Denali, for allowing me time on your panel.
No
You
problem.
can take me down now so someone else can have the box. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Bye-bye. Okay, Miss Blue Lotus. Miss Blue Lotus.
Hello, thanks for having me up.
How are
So I don't have a question. I just want to say that a lot of people are not paying attention to what Mr. Mark Anthony is saying, because one of the biggest things that people have been trying to hold on to is the fact that he was told to move, right? But my twin, both of my sons, they run for Frisco ISD, and they were at the track meet when this incident occurred.
Oh,
And-
wait. Woo. So the sister that's on here, there's a lot of people that's on this TikTok panel that are actually from the area. This sister says her kids were there that day at that track meet.
Oh. And they can sit anywhere they want to sit. Like no coach would have told them, any of them, to move. And in fact,
And no coach.
And that's the bull crap that people have been putting on social media, that he had no right to sit there and that they had a right to make him move. And they're just saying that in that track community, no coaches tell people to move like that. He didn't have to move because all these different schools, they interact with each other. This is the woman that says she was there that day. Her kids were there at that track meet. Again,
Mark Anthony is saying, because one of the biggest things that people have been trying to hold on to is the fact that he was told to move, right? But my twin, both of my sons, they run for Frisco ISD, and they were at the track meet when this incident occurred.
They were there. She said her sons. Let me correct that.
And
she didn't say she was. She said her kids were there, and they run for Frisco.
they can sit anywhere they want to sit. Like no coach would have told them, any of them, to move. And in fact,
and no coach did.
In fact,
and no coach
right,
did.
And no coach did. Isn't that interesting? No coaches on that day. This is good insight that we're getting, everybody. No coaches on that day told Carmelo Anthony to leave. So why did the Metcalf twins, what made them think that they had the authority to make that man, that young minor, 17-year-old Carmelo Anthony, leave? Who gave them the authority to do so when there were no coaches that told him to move? You see how this all starts to come together, everybody. Here we go.
Even my son's friend was under that same tent that wasn't their own school. So they're in a whole nother school. One of their friends was sitting under that tent from a whole nother school. No one.
I said that earlier, that other people were sitting underneath that tent from other
Yeah,
schools.
and everyone on social media, oh, he was told to move. He should have moved. He should have moved. And Frisco, that's not how it is. Like those kids are out there.
We're getting insight.
Conversing with each other. It's a track meet. Not one event
Like
is in one.
People go to dances from other kids' schools
Yeah,
too.
they're not all in one spot. Like they're moving around. They're talking to each other. They're being kids. And then another thing too, since it happened during school hours, work hours, the majority of parents that would have been at that track meet was working. I was at work when I got the email.
Okay.
So a lot of parents were at work. And nobody's just gonna skip school to go to a track meet. They're there with permission.
Boom! Woo! Ladies and gentlemen. Booyah! What did you just hear there? That's another BS that people have been saying on social media that, oh, Carmelo Anthony had skipped school. He had no business being at that track meet. He had skipped school. Oh, he got kicked out of school for having a knife. That was fake news. Now, this woman says she has 2 sons. I guess she has twins too that run for Frisco run track for the school district. She says that when they have these track meets and people attend them, they get permission from the school. That's why he was there. He had permission from. That's why Carmelo Anthony was there. People have been saying that the young man, that Carmelo Anthony had no business being there because he skipped school. What are you doing skipping school? She says the rules in the school district is that when you see kids there, it's because they got permission. 2, no coaches told Carmelo Anthony to leave under the tent when it was raining out. But the Metcalf twins thought that they had the right to tell him what to do. And they had no right. They had no authority under any law to make him leave from under the tent. This is the Information Man Show.
Yeah, because, you know, they do the checklist to see who the heck's on their bus and then who they're responsible for, and they don't leave anybody behind.
Exactly. And that's what everyone wants to believe, what they want to believe, and make stuff up. Like, you've never been to a Frisco ISD track meet. You don't have children that participate. Like, this is a big deal. And another thing, the way these adults on social media platforms are acting, like, my kids, they said none of this is going on at their school right now. None of the kids are in a battle. These is grown.
Boom. No kids at the schools. None of these kids in that community are going into a racial battle with each other. This is somebody that lives in the community, has a child in the community, in the track.
Like me, you don't have children that participate. Like, this is a big deal. And another thing, the way these adults on social media platforms are acting, like, my kids, they said none of this is going on at their school right now. None of the kids are in a battle. These is grown people that are instilling bad behaviors into their children that's keeping this going.
Got it. Okay. All right, Miss Lotus, I appreciate your voice. Appreciate your statement. Let's give Kia Smith. Kia Smith, you have a question for Mr. Mark Anthony?
First and furthermore, I want to say to Mr. Mark Anthony, thank you for coming up to share light on the story. Also, I want you to protect your family as well, because being in Texas, we know is not such a nice place in reference to this matter. If the judge can get doxxed, imagine what could happen to you possibly.
Lawyers get threatened. Their kids get threatened.
Exactly.
Their kids get threatened.
What I really do want to say is, as I went back and I reviewed Austin's first interview, if you actually play it out, I was up 4 o'clock this morning re-listening to that interview, and Austin stated that his brother,
Hunter stated.
Hunter stated that his brother grabbed the bag and became aggressive.
Right.
In his first initial video, he said that Austin, he identified the bag grabber.
Can you all hear? Put 7s if you can hear.
When you go back to the second video,
right,
he said it got aggressive.
Kitty G, what's going on?
The bag. So what I want y'all to see is, when y'all come on these panels, if you're going to cover this story, please cover this story based on facts that already have been put out to the media.
Let me say something sincere. You say also that was on school grounds and not a community event. Actually, if you go do the research, it's an admissible track meet that the school district uses primarily for their championships. On that day, it was a track meet championship, either a state championship or a local city championship. And it wasn't technically at a physical school's track, but at a track that is used by not only the public, but primarily used by the school district. It's just like when you have a football state championship, right? And all the schools meet at one place where they're having the school football state championship, and they may play at a big stadium. that is being now used by the school district. And so therefore it makes it a school event because it's being held for a school event. So therefore it falls under all of those things. But a good point there. Good point there. Hit 7s if you can hear everything that's being said through my microphone and on this audio. Thank you, everybody.
Views. And you can read the police report. And that's what I got to say. And anything affiliated with GoFundMe, his family is not a part of that at all.
Right. And let me just say this too. This whole notion that the Metcalf brother Hunter, and I said this in the beginning of the show, he has made inconsistent statements to the press. And you just go and look at everything that he said, you will find those inconsistencies. I did a video on this channel where I pointed some of that out before in the saga of me doing these videos on this particular subject matter. Let's continue.
If you want to send to him, you can go to send.
Give go send.
Yeah,
Give go send. Let me move this up a little bit because I want to get to another area of this.
I mean, as far as I know, he doesn't have any kind of criminal record.
No, he
would have
doesn't.
Been brought up at the bond hearing. And nothing
Right. He doesn't have a criminal record. Carmelo Anthony has no
Because
criminal
that's
record.
what they're saying was brought up at the bond.
No, well, I mean, listen, based on what I heard from the bond,
Let me move this back, see what this woman's talking about here. And here we go.
What is the truth behind previous violent issues with Carmelo?
Here we go.
I mean, as far as I know, he doesn't have any kind of criminal record that would have been brought up at the bond hearing, and nothing of it was brought up.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what they're saying was brought up at the bond.
No, well, I mean, listen, based on what I heard from the bond hearing, from the reports I heard, he doesn't have any criminal record.
Right.
Bond
not a record, right?
The bond probably would not have been lowered.
Right. And Mr. Mark Anthony was at the bond hearing. So if that was true, he would have known that already. I don't know where this woman is. She's stretching at straws here.
Hold on. He doesn't have a record, but what?
What? Who said but?
Mark Anthony did. You were talking.
There's a but. You know, I can talk about what I can talk about, but you know, has he been in anything? I'm gonna say anything that he was called to the principal's office, but in trouble for it. How about that?
Okay.
Worked out.
Who actually called to the principal's office?
He was not found. I mean, hell, I've been to the principal's office.
I mean,
but
who hasn't?
that doesn't mean anything about this case. But if it ever is found, you know, for those who want to look it up and can find any kind of CF school, it was resolved and dissolved.
Okay, so he went to the principal office before about something, and the situation was resolved and dissolved. Okay. But the question is, he doesn't have a criminal history. There's a difference between having to go to the principal's office because maybe there was a little situation in which, you know, you got into a little trouble at school about something. That's a totally different between criminal charges and having a record of attacking people in a way that police have to get involved. He doesn't have that. See, this is what these folks are looking for. They have to find something to stick on Carmelo because it fits their narrative that he's a thug. And when this young man is involved in sports and science and all these things and having a scholarship coming his way, it doesn't fit the narrative that he's a thug, the narrative that they believe that black people and most black youngsters are to be. Let me get ready to get
anything else.
I know. Again,
all right,
when
everybody.
I got the phone call, all he could say is bully, bully, bully. So do I can speculate, and I didn't ask when he called me that day.
All right. Okay, everybody. Now this is going to be the last clip for the day. This is going to be the clip that's going to send us on home today. I really appreciate you all watching the program. Make sure you share the video on all your social media. Tell people about the channel. Subscribe to the Information Man Show because everybody, you guys make this program work the way it's working. Really appreciate you. Tell the truth as always.
Tell the truth.
And hit the bell notification. Share the video on all your social media. This is a very important video. And let me shout out to my man Freezy, my man of No Cap Freezy out there. He one night I saw him going over the same video with his audience. So when I saw this brother have that video on his channel and I went over there, gave him some super chat, my man Freezy of the No Cap channel, he has a lot of panels and stuff like that he has over there. That inspired me to find this footage and to present this to my audience here in the way that I do it here. But I want to say shout out to him and everybody in the YouTube streets. But this video right here is solid because it gives us just a little bit of insight. Let me now go to this next video that I think will ride us on home, but give us further insight, because here is where someone comes on the panel and tries to challenge Mr. Mark Anthony, a 10-year friend of Mr. Andre Anthony, the father of Carmelo Anthony. And here we go.
Be cited for him, and I'm talking about Metcalf, the taking of his possessions without his permission, and the shove that was said by the brother. Again, they may be misdemeanors, but then again, they were criminal acts.
Mm-hmm.
We can't just skip across all the hurdles and meet at the finish line. And we can't say, well, no offense, here in Georgia, here in California, I've heard California, and some people are, oh my God, I don't even bother to look it up for. No offense, and I had a place in Aliso Viejo, so I can't bag out on California, but people, if you just type in Texas Penal Code,
here it goes.
I think I have it on my computer, and it helps explain it to myself included. I mentioned earlier I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, to the guy who was from Illinois. But Penal Code 46.01, Title 10, Offense Against Public Health, Safety, and Morals, Chapter 46, Weapons, status.capitol.texas.gov. I mean, it says it all there. It's very enlightening to myself. Read it.
I may have asked you this yesterday on the phone, but does Andrew have any opinion about you out here speaking?
We talked about it for a smidge, and he knows I'm not going to say, what I shouldn't, like what hospital, what dealership. Right. That I haven't said people, but
no, I do have a question.
I do have a question, right?
Wait, who are you? Who are you?
Who am I?
Yeah.
This guy came on the panel and he's
talking to me, the host.
Check it out.
I'm the host. Why would you cut him off while he was speaking?
Oh, I didn't realize I was actually speaking.
Just relax.
And I didn't mean to cut him off.
Go ahead, Trouble. I mean, yeah, it's all right. Go ahead, Trouble. Trouble, I believe you had a question. You got yourself muted.
Trouble, what's your question, sir?
I was muted, but I was going to ask him.
I did mute you.
He knew the father. I was going to ask him.
Check this one out, everybody.
For me, right?
Thank you, Sincere. Thank you, Mike Bree. Thank you.
Number. Because I do also too know the father, and that's how because there's a lot of people that come on the panel and they say things like, "Oh, I know this," and they give out false information.
Okay.
So your question
I just want to know if you could verify the last four, any of the 2 digits of the last 4 digits of the number. That's all.
You're questioning his validity here, sir?
Absolutely. He's not the only one that came on the panel and started giving statements and saying, "Oh, I know the father," and this and this. I run into several people that says this, and it's untrue. So that's all.
You know Andrew. Were you at the bond hearing with Andrew?
I have people that was there. Yes, absolutely.
Were you at the bond hearing, sir?
I wasn't there personally, but I have people in the service.
First of all, there wasn't a bunch of people that came on our family and said they know the father. he's the only one that's been on this panel that says he had a 10-year relationship with the father, or he has a relationship with the father that's been about 10 years running, and that he's known Carmelo Anthony since he was a little kid, a little kid. But check this out. Check this out.
Calm down, sir. Calm down. I'm just asking you a question. Were you at the bond hearing? You saying no? Is that right?
I'm saying pick a digit and I'll tell him. I'm numbering them right now.
No, just any digits, because there's 3 digits that's the same digits.
Right. Okay. So let's go with, if we're gonna go for the area code, that's 3.
Not the area code.
4, 5, 6, 9. It's a 9, the 6th digit. If you add in the area code, the 6th digit is 9.
No. I'm just asking for at least 2 of the 4 of the last 4 digits of the phone number. At least 2 numbers. And then.
Okay. Let's do this. Let's do 6 and 8, 9 and 7.
Are you telling me it's one of the 2 numbers?
No, I'm telling you, number 6 is 9, number 8 is 7.
Right. Listen. All I want to know is just 2 of the 4 digits.
If this guy who gets on a panel and says there's people going around saying they have a relationship with Carmelo Anthony's father, he's trying to vet this guy and challenge him. So Mark Anthony throws out some numbers to try to make sure nobody gets the actual number. And this guy never, at the end of this, never said, "Oh, you're a liar." I think what happened is the guy got shocked that he actually had the real deal. He was expecting him not to have it, but he never acknowledged that, "Oh, you're right," because he, in this situation, he got busted. Let's continue.
If you got the number, that's all you got to go to. Number 6.
I mean, like, who are you to come question anybody?
And number 9. Yeah.
Because it's a lot of. It's not that I'm questioning.
You are, sir. You came up.
Do you know the phone number?
Give me 1 second, Lena.
I do.
Mr. Trouble, you did come up and question him. Who are you to question him?
If you got his phone number, you could do it. I got his phone number written right on here too that I just pulled off my phone. I showed Denali the texts I got from him.
Dude, like, who the hell are you?
I mean, why not question it?
You should know. You should know. If you've got his number and I've got his number, the 6th number in his phone number is 9. The 8th number in his phone number is 7. Deal with it.
And he gave the proof that he said.
Why? He said the last number is 9 and the other number is 7, and then the white boy said, "Deal with it." Hey, look, everybody. Everybody in the chat room, by a show of sevens. I should have did a poll. I should have wrote a poll for this. Do you believe that Mark Anthony is credible or not? If people don't think he's credible, you have every right to feel that way. If you think he is credible, say yes, you think he's credible. If you think he's not credible, say no. Either way. But apparently the brother who ran this TikTok knows this man as well. And he sent him examples of text messages between him and Carmelo Anthony's father. He's saying he knows him. The guy comes up here and challenges him, but never said out of his mouth, "You're a liar. That's not true." And then he skips off. Then he jumps off the panel because I think he got busted. Not Mark Anthony, but the cat that challenged him. Let's get back to this right now.
Now,
Okay, no, he right. I didn't know we was going there.
First of all, I don't know who you.
He said he's right. Did you hear him say, oh, he's right? Wait a minute. I want y'all to hear this part. The guy actually admits that the white guy is right. Here we go.
Deal with it.
And he gave Denali proof that he said Denali
Okay, no, he right. I didn't know we was.
He said it 2 times. He right. So here we go.
Deal with it.
And he gave Denali proof that he said Denali
Okay, no, he right. I didn't know we was going there.
So he admits that he is right. The guy who challenged him admit that Mark Anthony is legitimate as it relates to his contact and friendship with Carmelo Anthony's father, or at least having contact with him. Let's go here.
First of all, I don't know who you are to even come up and question anybody about anything.
Well, that's okay.
It's an open panel. What does it matter? Why get upset in the opinion because I asked the question?
Was I right? Oh,
who cares?
No, he did say you were right.
For real, that was just.
He did say you were right because underneath all the talking, he said, "You're right, you're right."
It's crazy, but
I mean, who do you think he is?
yes, he just.
If you have a problem and you know Andrew, then call Andrew and say Mark is on the phone on the TikTok. I mean,
on the TikTok.
I'm not dealing with that. I'm sorry, Mark. You're a guest.
I'm not going to give straight numbers because
of course you're not. Of course you're not. But he doesn't have any authority.
This is
to
crazy.
come up here and question anybody the same way Austin didn't have any authority to come up and ask Carmelo to leave. So please don't do it. Okay.
All right, y'all. What can I say, everybody? This has been a labor of love today. There it is, everybody. How do you think about the video? Let's go in the chat room and see if you guys, before I end this, I want to see if you guys believe that Mr. Mark Anthony, that you think that he was credible in the things that he said. Do you think that he was credible? Do you think that he said things that made some sense to you? Do you think he's just, BSing around? Or do you think that he is credible in his positioning as it relates to Carmelo Anthony, his friendship with the father? He said he knows the father for 10 years. I don't know how close they are. I mean, you can know people for 10 years or more. Doesn't mean that you're necessarily super close with them. And in some cases, you can be super close with them. But he must have some relationship because he said he was at the bond hearing. So their relationship must be a lot close than we know. And he was at the bond hearing. He says, hey, I know where he works at. He works in car financing, but he didn't say exactly where because he didn't want people to know exactly where he works at. But then we're hearing that the family is struggling with the money because I'm pretty sure there are people in Texas that have discovered where he works at, like that woman who claimed that he used to work at Nissan, that are harassing the family. I think he also mentioned that the family had their door kicked in at one point in time. A lot of stuff is going on behind the scenes, everybody, with this situation before they've even gotten to a trial. Wait how crazy things are going to be when it's